So, TJ, enjoy the ride. Hey, it's time to take a closer look at this track. Townsend talks us through.
Well, Lee, most of the drivers, plus TJ, will tell you that this is one of the most challenging tracks on the schedule. It's a real patchwork of part drag strip, part NASCAR course, and then sections that are exclusive to IndyCar. It's tricky to pass here, but you can do it in the brake zones at turn 9 and turn 11. But the big hero opportunity for lap time comes in that turn 6 red shaded area known as the carousel. It's a fast and daunting corner, and Sonoma is a raceway that demands the ultimate skill set from a driver: fearlessness and finesse.
Oh, well said, well said. There's 160 feet of elevation change here at Sonoma Raceway as well. It is quite the track. And do you like historical statistics? The last time Dario Franchitti was on the pole here at Sonoma Raceway, he went all the way to the top of the podium. We'll see if the Scotsman can do it again. So the other Scott Dixon, that is, he wants to win and try and get closer to Castro Neves in the championship.
He certainly does. We'll be watching RHR with hopefully a bounce-back performance again this weekend like he always does. Look at Charlie Kimball, won at Mid-Ohio, comes right here to Sonoma, qualifies in the Firestone Fast Six, and he is strong, Wally.
I talked to him this morning, and after last week talking to you, you can tell there is a confidence difference in this guy. I mean, he's here to do business. It's very different after that win.
More confidence from Graham Rahal as well. The best qualifying he's done on a road course in over a year.
And two guys who feel confident about their cars, Hinchcliffe and Pagenaud. Perhaps the qualifying doesn't reflect that, but they feel good about their race cars. Now, we're going to roll through the remainder of the grid. Wally, on your return visit with us here, what are you looking for today? What are you hoping for today?
Well, I'm hoping for a lot of passing. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the tires. And this, as Townsend was saying, this place is very physical. You have to really work the race car around here, which can sometimes hurt the tire. So we may see tire management come in. We know some of the guys are really, really fast, but sometimes that's not so good on your tires. So it's going to be interesting to how that plays out.
And we roll through to Lucas Lua there, and James Davison starts at the back after an engine change and penalty. So in his second IndyCar IndyCar Series race. Time to take in and check in with the onboards. And this is the National Guard Panther entry. Ryan Briscoe is carrying the National Guard onboard camera. How about James Jakes? We're familiar with this view. This is the Acorn Stairlifts onboard camera for the Englishman. The Verizon onboard brings us to Simon Pagenaud, who could very well be victorious today. He finished second at Mid-Ohio. And then we join Graham Rahal with thanks to KMC Wheels in car number 15 for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Charlie Kimball will give us the Novolog Flex Pen view for our most recent race winner. The Chevy onboard delivers us Elio Castro Neves, the championship leader, and of course his teammate in the Verizon Chevy. It's the Verizon onboard, car number 12, Will Power. And a reminder to download the IndyCar 13 app. Simply call StarStar Indy or search the App Store or Google Play, only from Verizon. So we are ready to go. It's round 15. It's all to play for. There are so many stories up and down this grid. Can you believe we're this deep into the season and the names of Franchitti, Power and Andretti have not been victorious? Ready to go racing. This is the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, and it's an All Ganassi front row. It's hot in California. Look at Power. Tries to force the issue there on the inside.
Wow, huge jump from Dario Castroneves looking up the inside.
Oh, look, there's contact there.
Yeah, Kimball
got a little bit of that.
Pagenaud got into the back of Justin Wilson as well, so our Mid-Ohio race winner has got dramas at turn 1.
Looks like he got hit from behind, got sideways, saved it, but is having trouble getting the car refired or re-engaged in gear.
Look at them scramble for position down into turn 4. That steep drop downhill. This is an amazing racetrack as Marco Andretti, frustrated after qualifying yesterday, tries to attack Simon Pagenaud.
And he will not like Pagenaud trying to stick it to him side by side. He's going to be pushing on the outside here. We've got a full course yellow out as Marco defends. Be interesting to see where they position those two cars with the yellow coming out. Look at the drama in the back.
Yeah, Newgarden and James Jakes were out in the dirt there exiting the carousel. But full course caution for Charlie Kimball. Now, I think I may have heard him say, Wally, on the radio before, broken drive shaft. It was a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Well, that left front looked like it took a hit, too. Let's see if we can watch it. We see the orange car there in the center. Boy, he got on the brakes really hard, and actually I think he spun the car because he went in there so deep he jumped on the brakes and he lost the rear of the car.
You're absolutely right. No contact from behind. I think everybody checked up more than he expected. Oh, he got into Castroneves.
Yeah. But now you wonder if Castroneves got any damage on the right rear.
Marty?
biff of your ear serve you well. It is a broken drive shaft. He has it in gear. It just will not go, so they're going to have to tow him all the way back around. You know, they always say the problem with winning a race, you got to go run the next one. For Charlie Kimball, it might be an early exit.
You look at that left front, guys. That's a lot of contact. I don't know if he squared the wheel of Elio. He may have got some body work, but that's a hard hit.
I don't see how you break a drive shaft there.
I don't either.
If I were him, I'd be cycling the ignition on and off and just making sure the computer hasn't filled the transmission.
Right.
So under this first full course yellow, Joseph Newgarden.
Either. I can't get the clutch to work.
That was the voice of Charlie Kimball. And Newgarden's got some issues as well. So it's all happening here at Sonoma Raceway. Quick break, then we're back.
First Australian to win the French Classic race between Paris and Nice. So from the suburbs of the great city in France, right down to the Côte d'Azur. Never been won before by an Australian cyclist.
Richie Porte has said next year he wants to be the leader of his squad when it goes through to the Giro d'Italia race, which he believes he can win. It was in the Tour of Italy
Want
where
to pay
he really
less for
first
fuel?
came to prominence.
Sign up free at fuelrewards.com.
He's using the slipstream of his car to try and get him back into the main field. I think the referees will look the other way at this point because they know he's had two problems with the mechanicals.
Yeah, it's true. He's had the mechanical. They might turn the blind eyes out. It's not really supposed to be based up by his team car.
Well, the first part was he was trying to adjust his handlebars, and then when he felt that it wasn't quite what he wanted, he had to stop at the side of the road and change his bike. And that took quite a long time. I thought it was rather a slow change, and he didn't really panic. But then he found himself caught in no man's land trying to
The Acorn Steerless team is going to have to make a pit stop. How to make this a quick one to stay in his current position. Yep. Car is up, and it looks like
Chris Froome's had to pull out this morning with a very tight chest here at altitude. Remember, we're over 5,000 feet up here, even in Denver itself.
I know what I'd be thinking. Whatever he's doing, it better not take long. In all my years of broadcasting,
Long
I have
straight
never
roads
seen
here. There aren't
anything like
many
this.
long straight roads as we continue to see the riders swinging through. This is the peloton, and it looks as though Team Cannondale are turning a little bit angry right now. They're trying to whip the pace up. Keep your eye on that time gap. It might well come down. It's already down to 50 seconds. 15 seconds. There is Richie Porte. He's come round the race car. He's back on the back. Let's go and have another chat with Steve Slaggert.
All the high seas drama with big money on the line. Which boat will reel in the big one? Shark Hunters season finale Wednesday 10 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
You're watching IndyCar on NBCSN, brought to you by GoPro. Let's check in as to the drama with Joseph Newgarden. Kevin?
Two issues for Joseph Newgarden. He clipped EJ Viso, so they needed to change the front wing, and then also he couldn't downshift, so they've got a gearbox problem, and obviously that's the much more severe problem. So already at the start of the race, Newgarden is down multiple laps.
Watching Newgarden on the outside here, the carousel with Viso. Viso doesn't do him a lot of favors there, pushing him off, and then Newgarden comes roaring back up the inside. At this point, the full yellow's out, I believe.
More updates from the lane. Here's Marty.
Well, Lee, our championship leader riding on board with Helio Castroneves right now. The problem at the start of the race for him, we're being told, he couldn't get the car out of second gear. He and Roger Penske had a couple conversations about it, but he could not get the car out of second gear. That's what caused the big jam up in turn one.
Got some promising signs for Charlie Kimball, the Mid-Ohio race winner. He is up and at him again. So Townsend, you're right. Not a broken drive.
Yeah, it just surprised me. There was nothing to lead you to believe that there would be a unexpected sudden load on the drivetrain to break anything, and I think it just could have been a computer issue. They do have what's called an emergency mode gearbox switch where you can cycle things and essentially reset the computer. I imagine something of that order took place in the pits.
Unfortunately, it took long enough for where he's a lap down.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Getting ready to go green this time by. It's only the third time this season that Dario Franchitti has led an IZOD IndyCar Series race. Long Beach and the first one at Toronto, but that was short-lived as well. So we'll see what today holds in store.
I think you saw a lot of courtesy on the start as far as the front row went.
Yeah.
And Dixon gave him a lot of room, which I think we're going to see a lot of if these guys continue to start.
I think Dario just got an amazing jump. Let's see if Dixon is kind for 2 times in a row.
And watch Power, because he's got that inside run, hasn't he? Here we go. Oh, they stack up. The Ganassi boys may not have got away to a quick start there. And Bourdais, there was a little contact also.
And Power's got a wheel.
Inside. He looked really racy at the original start, and he tries to go around the outside of Scott Dixon and can't do it. Hunter Ray will get the run through.
You cannot go on the outside of turn 2 there. There is no grip out there. So it was Dixon's advantage.
Yeah, try telling Power that.
This man is driving with frustration overload. His teammate goes through on the inside. Graham Rahall's in the mix, so too Marco Andretti. But Power is frustrated that he has not seen the top step of the podium this season. The road course specialist dearly wants to win, but he's just lost a position. He's lost 2.
And look at Castroneva's gap Power already, and Power's off at the exit of the carousel.
Marco Andretti just got a shower of dust and dirt.
Yes, he did.
He got swamped, and Pagenaud goes through on the inside. Justin Wilson, there's a traffic jam at turn 7. That is wild stuff.
But this is your best time, your best opportunity to make some passes right now after these restarts. And this is what we're seeing right here. These guys are going after it.
Hinchcliffe's battling the yellow and green car there of Tristan Vautier. And Takuma Sato is in the mix. Tony Kanaan has made up numerous positions. So in his 211th and tying Jimmy Vasser on that record, his start, he's off to a good one. Tell us more, Kevin.
And that makes sense because Kanaan said that the car is great on new tires. That's the way they were 4th in the warm-up today, because they strapped on a set of new rubber. Buddy said it gets bad very quickly. So their original plan has been to probably duck early as soon as lap 10 and do 4 stops, picking up all this track position. Maybe they change that strategy and make it a traditional 3-stopper.
But you know, we talked about Tony Kanaan for this race, tying Jimmy Vasser for all-time consecutive starts. You got to remember, TK, the Ironman, he has done that. Let's look at Bourdais in the pits for a wing change. I was just going to finish with Kanaan. Has done that through broken wrists and ribs and all kinds of injuries that he's driven through. Amazing. Not sure who Bourdais got into there.
No, I don't know. And I really expected these guys to have a good day today. Bourdais has been very quick here all weekend. I really thought they were going to be a top 4, top 5 car.
So many fast corners here that if you even have a winglet out of order, you cannot perform around Sonoma. There's too many fast corners.
Let's show you a replay of that restart and look for that chrome and red car from Dragon Racing of Sebastian Bourdais. There he is.
Right there.
Got into the back of Marco Andretti.
Yeah, he tried to get the big jump and got it just wrong on timing, had to swerve at the last second.
I'll tell you, you got to give it to Power, though. He was there. There's nowhere he could go. You have to stay on the outside.
Yeah, but when you stay there, you're getting dirt on your tires, and you saw him suffer for the next 4 or 5 corners.
But I don't think there was a way to get back in the line.
True.
There it is there. Look at Bourdais taking evasive action after he knew he was about to ram the back of Marco Andretti and just lost the front left half of that front wing. Happens in the background there. What a shame. He was poised to have a good weekend. He was off to a decent start of both Schmidt cars, the Schmidt-Hamilton, Schmidt-Peterson car.
Oh, look at Tony Kanaan. That's
James Jakes on the outside.
Wow,
James
that's
Hinchcliffe.
a tough place to pass too, Townsend.
And this is a battle of guys that every one of these guys expects to be in the top 5 right now. Briscoe, Hinchcliffe, Jakes, Kimball, Hildebrand, and they're all driving for a result that they desperately need today, and you can see it.
Well, guys, riding along with Charlie Kimball, I did check in with the team with Tom Wirtz, his strategist. He said that's exactly what happened. What you guessed, Townsend, the anti-stall kicked off for Charlie Kimball. He couldn't get the car refired. All he had to do was recycle the computer. Once he did that, came back up to speed. Now he's charging his way through the field. Look at that pass right there.
And Justin Wilson's backwards.
We're hearing that EJ Viso may have tagged the back of Justin Wilson while Wilson was in the top 10. That is a tough break. This has been a good fight. Hinchcliffe's in trouble. He's getting swamped. He's losing position almost by corner. And there is the stranded Justin Wilson. One of the dark horse favorites for this race.
Full course yellow.
And we go under our second full course yellow. Here's EJ Viso at the back. Sticks his nose on the inside, Wally.
I mean, Wally, when I look at that, it's like, EJ, you just got to back out.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't know you're there. You know he's going to hit that apex.
Right, you've already committed to the corner. You're looking at the apex. If I don't see your wing or your front wheel, you don't exist.
Now, didn't we see that with Hunter Ray got tagged last year in that corner? That was Tagliani.
Yeah.
Very similar situation.
Start you on a roll so you don't lose a lap.
Also early in the race last year, Helio Castro-Neves spun Scott Dixon and received a penalty for that. So it's a common theme at that corner at turn 7 at Sonoma Raceway.
The problem is that what EJ Viso's thinking is it's plenty wide for 2 cars. He's got to let me through, but that assumes that Wilson knows you're there.
Right, you've got to present yourself on that corner. If you're going to outbrake somebody, you've got to make sure that they see that you're there.
So they were able to fire Justin Wilson up. He did not lose a lap, but he'll be on the tail of the lead lap. Time for a quick break. We'll come back with more GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma after this.
Inside's yours. Keep pushing here, bud. Turn 4's clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. One push to fast left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Whoa, what do you got there?
Berry pomegranate Mio.
Do I just squirt a little?
Or you can squirt a lot.
Really changes your water.
It changes everything.
Mio, squirt some.
A man and his truck, and a broken fence, and a lost calf, and the heart to search for as long as it takes, and the truck that lets him search for as long as it takes. The all-new Chevy Silverado, the most fuel-efficient V8 in a pickup, strong for all the roads ahead.
For 185 years, Irwin has been making professional tools for professional tradesmen. Today, Irwin Tools salutes those who build this nation with their bare hands. Join Irwin in celebrating National Tradesman Day to say thanks for a job well done.
Introducing a car company that's never made a single car. We took the power of a 9-year-old V8 and gave it the impressive handling of Firestone's Destination tire. Now, moms agree. Every milk run feels like a victory lap. So whatever you drive a Firestone.
Pretty easy to see why this is a favourite on the IndyCar calendar. It's such a pleasure to come to Sonoma Raceway. So much going on, and there are a lot of IndyCar fans who have turned up today to enjoy the beautiful sunshine and what has already been an interesting and entertaining race. So, here we go. Nobody taking this opportunity to dive into the pits. You're pretty sure EJ Viso's going to see the pits for a drive-through penalty because of that?
I would think so. Hitch is the first guy to pop in here. But, yeah, it looked like EJ had some drama earlier with Newgarden under caution. So we understand Saavedra and Briscoe also pitting. Now, they started on the primary tire. Hitch did, as did Briscoe, as did Saavedra, and it looks like Lucas Lohr back there. Jan
Beekers is standing by at the Andretti Autosport pit for this man here.
And, of course, Townsend, that's exactly right. Because he was on the black primaries, you both said he was struggling on course. That's why. He was out there trying to fight with those that are on the alternate reds. Clear. At the same time, while he clears, Justin Wilson has made his way to pit road. Of course, I believe he may have lost a lap. He was also on that same strategy. So anyone that was out there on the primaries, Briscoe also leaving after some service. Those that were on those primaries want to take this opportunity to get them off, and they were somewhat sitting ducks out there at the start.
While we work our way back to green, let's see the two largest movers in the field up to date are both the KV Racing Technology drivers, Simona Di Silvestro and Tony Kanaan, have both made up 9 positions. So a really encouraging start for those two drivers. Marty?
Well, let's grab a word with Tom Wirtz here and see exactly what was the end diagnosis of what happened to Charlie.
Well, I mean, it looks like a little electrical issue, but it got into an anti-stall mode, and by the time we realized it, it shut the motor off. So we needed to get back and, do our thing. We topped off fuel and basically started up and ended up 1 lap down. So Charlie's got his work cut out for him.
Yes, he does, and he did apologize to the team. He said, hey, guys, I'm sorry. That was my mental mistake. I should have been able to do that up in turn 2 on my own and then to get the car going in the right direction.
And a quick reminder that there's a lot going on in this area of the country. Tonight, Sunday Night Football will be right here in San Francisco as Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers host Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. It's Sunday Night Football, 8 Eastern, only on NBC. Speaking of sporting stars, Charlie Kimball, after he won at Mid-Ohio several weeks ago, I said, who was the coolest text or phone call or email that you got? And he said, I got a call from tennis superstar Billie Jean King, congratulating him on what he accomplished. They met at a Novo Nordisk function several years ago, and she has been a big Charlie Kimball fan ever since. So he said, I had to thank everybody. I got a lot. He said, but Billie Jean King was the coolest congratulatory note that I got. All right, more from the lane. Here's Kevin.
Great start for Jimmy Vasser's guy, Tony Kanaan, 16th to 7th. I think you were thinking about making it a 4-stopper. Picked up a lot of positions in yellow. What's the plan now?
Well, now obviously Tony did such a fantastic job getting the hydroxy car up that far. I mean, we were going to go 4 stops and let him run wide open, but now and get off of these black tires. But now with moving up so far, we're gonna go ahead and stretch it out and go change to a 3-stop race. We've got to hang in there on these blacks still right now.
Yeah, we'll see what the engineer Eric Calton has been able to do, because they were concerned about being able to simply keep on it on the black tires because they were going off.
Hey, Kevin, while you're there with Jimmy, ask him how his back is after he crashed one of Robbie Gordon's Stadium Super Trucks.
Lee Diffie wants to know how your back is, and I think Townsend wants to know, too, after you tried the Stadium Super Truck in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm still recovering. Thank you.
It was fun, though. We enjoyed it while it was.
He's a good spirit about it. He jumped high, though, Townsend.
He really did. It's generally ill-advised on the outlap for your very first time off a steel ramp to go wide open. And but, you know, bless him. He's a charger.
I've spoken to Robbie Gordon, and he said there is a seat waiting for our Wally Dallenbach.
I'll fill it.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't have to ask me twice to jump in one of those trucks.
Careful what you wish for, cowboy.
So it's been a little bit of a stop-start affair here at Sonoma Raceway, but we are getting ready to go back to green. And there is a huge motivational boost for one driver in the top 10. He's running 6th. It's Graham Rahal, driving for his father's team, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. It's been a season of frustration with a little bit of hope. There was a podium at Long Beach. He showed great signs by winning that heat race at Iowa, but he feels he gave his secret away around Iowa Speedway to the rest of the field, and they knew what he was doing to get to the front. So this has been a moment that Bobby Rahal and Mike Lanigan, David Letterman, everybody's been waiting for, to see this sunshine through on young Graham Rahal. This is the boost that he needs. Can he convert it into a good day? The last time he made it through and qualified well, he stood on the podium at the Long Beach Grand Prix. We'll see. There's a long way to go in this 85-lap race. All Ganassi on this front row again for the restart, for the second restart already, early on in the opening 10 laps of this race. Let's do it. Hunter Ray, look at that yellow car. The defending series champion wants the way through, but he can't get it there. It's tight.
And the Penske's are going to be side by side, Castroneves and Power. Look at Power to the outside again, gets Castroneves.
Well, he got the grip that time.
So no favors done for his championship leading teammate. He wants to go and grab the victory all for himself. And we have just received word from race control that EJ Viso will indeed get a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact and spinning Justin Wilson.
I'm really enjoying watching an aggressive Sato, and always aggressive Sato, side by side now with Viso, who's probably just fuming at the penalty. And here they go, side by side through the carousel.
Oh, that is heart-in-the-mouth stuff through the carousel, and Sato's going to be run wide, right up on the strip.
He's not going to be happy about that either.
No, we've seen plenty of that, too much of that today out of Viso. Look at this, 4 wide, going into the hairpin.
Simona makes a great move down on the inside. She's going to pick up 1 or 2 positions right there.
And Vautier was the big loser there, that yellow and green car for the Schmidt-Peterson team. But Ryan Briscoe continues to power his way through. He started 22nd and he runs 13th.
Sato taking another look. Viso's obviously going to be ducking to pit lane here.
Well, no guarantee. There he comes.
The Zico car does take the lane. And again, that was for turn Justin Wilson up at turn 7.
Yeah, this is, and like you hear the pit speed. When you're angry making a drive-through on a penalty, that's normally when you get another penalty because you're so hot.
And sometimes TV angles are a little deceiving. There is quite the sharp turn halfway down the pit lane here at Sonoma Raceway. Field starting to spread out now up to speed. And we want to take you back to that first flying lap again to show you what happened to Tristan Vautier in the Schmidt-Peterson car. We believe J.R. Hildebrand may have been involved. And there goes JR on the inside of the Barracuda Networks car, and he tags the back of it.
No fault of JR's whatsoever. Vautier just decided, I'm going to try to square up the exit. He was going so slow in that pack of cars, he just altered his line, and JR was there. So hopefully both cars are okay. There shouldn't be any penalty, any issue with that.
And there is Graham Rahal looking at the back of Helio Castro Neves, and he says, wow, I haven't seen this view much this year. Riding aboard with Rahal now.
You know, Lee, you and I sat down with Graham for a good half an hour. We asked him a lot of tough questions on Friday about performance, about how he's analyzed his own performance and the team's performance. And I got to say, he told us, guys, this is the first time this season I felt confident in the car that I've got, and it's showing today.
And he's only 24, so we think of Graham for being around forever because he has been. But while he has a young man in life at 24, how do you deal with that adversity that he's been dealt this year?
Well, at 24, you're very impatient. You want everything right now, and I think that's been a struggle for Graham because, you know, he had that success early on when he got into Indy cars and got a taste of it, and then he struggled ever since. Or not ever since, but he's had a hard time to get back to that point. So I think, there's been some switch. Mick Davis over there now. They're mixing some things up. They're mixing some setups up. And you got to find what the driver wants. That communication between the driver and your team, it's got to hit. You got to hit on a setup and find out what the driver wants.
And Kevin, I said to Bobby Rahal last weekend at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, I said, take yourself out of it as his dad. What's going to happen for Graham to get back to the front? And he said, it's real simple. We've got to deliver him a better car as a team.
Yeah, and he obviously believes that because they shook up this team a few weeks ago. Mitch Davis came on board. Bobby says they've been trying to get Mitch for years, and it finally worked out. Neil Fife, who had been released by Dragon, comes in as the engineer, and they have been just making steady improvements. That Wednesday test was huge for them to be able to figure out some things, and it might get better for Graham. Keep an eye on, because he said, I think I'm really good as far as older tires. The longer the stint goes, the better I think I'll be.
You know, one thing I was talking to Mitch this morning, the big problem with Graham the car's been very loose. They've had very loose race cars, and they haven't had the forward bite or the grip in the rear. And they said they make a big gain this week in that direction.
On board with the National Guard Panther entry, Ryan Briscoe has halved his starting position, 22nd to 11th. He is flying.
He is flying. Keep in mind that Kanan in front of him is still on the black tires, and if Kanan can hang on here, he can go red, red, red to the finish. Briscoe's going to have to put blacks on, as will most of your leaders. But, boy, you can see the difference in grip right there. Kanan is hanging on.
But I'll tell you what, there's not too many guys that are as good around this place as Ryan Briscoe. I mean, he has got a great record here, and I really thought that these guys would be strong. Be nice to see Panther get a good run. It's been a long time since they've been in victory lane, since 2007.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that this man here who we ride with had wrist surgery on July 15th, not that long ago. He was with us in the commentary booth at Mid-Ohio as he makes the move on the inside of Tony Kanaan. He said his wrist is about 90% at the moment.
Clear, all clear.
And steering these cars with no power steering around a track like this with an injured wrist is a tough task.
And not only is an injured wrist, he's got that plate and the screws and everything in there, and it's just amazing. It's great to see Ryan come back so strong. Kanaan smart there not to defend too aggressively, knowing they're on different tire compounds. And look at Dario. Look at the lap times. I mean, he's still 4/10 clear of Hunter Ray per lap. And smooth sailing. This is right where he wants to be.
Just smooth. 1.4 seconds ahead of his championship contending teammate. And Dario earlier today said, hey, I'm not out of this. He has rocketed from 12th to 6th in the championship in the last 4 races. Don't count out the 4-time champ. Back live at Sonoma Raceway, and we said it a little earlier, this is a common theme at turn 7. Drivers tagging the back of a car in front and turning them around, and we're under yellow again, and here's the reason why. Watch the red and chrome machine of Sebastian Bourdais, and I was about to say just tags, but I think it was a little bit more than just. Simona Di Silvestro.
We've heard of the chrome horn. I think that's Alex Gurney refers to that as the chrome baguette, I heard after the Grand Am race, but that's a tough break for Simona. You know, they were starting on blacks. The cars look really good. If they could pit and get those blacks off, she was looking like she was going to have a great run.
I'll tell you who this really helps is Tony Kanaan right now. He needs to get in and get off those tires, and this is a good break for him.
Bourdais' second wing. incident of the day.
Remember, at the beginning of the race, he took off the left half of the front wing, and now it's the right side that's damaged on the McAfee entry for Dragon Racing. They have a lot of top executives here today as guests, Jay Penske and his team, and they were really hoping for a solid run. So
we understand that contact is going to be under investigation by the stewards, and Wally, I can't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, it was a straight shot in, too. It was almost like Bourdais went in and couldn't get the car slowed down enough, but
we've all done it.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
This has been a track that will stick in Sebastian Bourdais' mind for a long time, when he was involved in a really frightening accident a year ago here at Sonoma Raceway. Take a look at this as we take you back in time. Joseph Newgarden was involved in it also. The white and blue car.
And Joseph Newgarden make hard contact with the outside retaining wall. You okay, buddy?
Having a crash that large, I'm super thankful in a way that the only injury I did sustain was a finger injury. It could have been a lot worse.
For sure, the pain kind of sometimes swivels a little bit and comes back, and it's like, oh, okay, I remember that.
It's hard to say exactly what happened. We were lined up pretty close. I was trying to overtake him because he'd just come out of the pits. So he had cold tires, I had hot tires. I wasn't able to get around him. So then as we exited the hairpin where I tried to get around him, he picked up some debris or whatever the issue was. He ended up going straight. So when he went off the track, I thought he was going to continue to go straight off the track. He ended up hooking completely left again, and we went sailing for the inside barriers. It was one of those deals where you couldn't really predict it. It just happened, and it played out pretty quickly because the wall was very close.
And that shoulder and collarbone injury still niggles Sebastian Bourdais from time to time.
Pits are open.
Communication from race control. Pits are clear. Pits are open. What will we see here? Almost guaranteed we'll see Kanaan come in. That's for sure. And there have been some dynamic movers in this pack today. Some really big movers like Ryan Briscoe, 11 positions made. James Jakes, 8 positions made. And James Davison made up 6 positions. This is the biggest mover in the pack right here. Ryan Briscoe, the defending race winner. He was in that interesting situation last year where he had the championship leader and teammate Will Power behind him. We were waiting for team orders to be called. Those team orders were never made. Briscoe went on to win the race. Here's Will Power. He's positioned nicely in 4th at the moment. But as has been the case in the last 4 races and the test and pretty much every session this weekend, Ganassi is on top. Here they come. Hunter Ray decides to stay out. And he is the only one of the front runners to do that.
We'll definitely be revisiting this call towards the end of the race. This is the strategy bet. Kevin, what's going on?
There's Graham Rahal coming in. He started on the alternate tires. He's going to the primary black tires. Good start with him, and Kanaan is going right in front of him. They were concerned about a problem from behind with Kanaan. Up to Jan.
Simon Pagenaud is going to take the opportunity to stay on red tires. The leaders are stopping up front as well, Marty.
Leader Dario Franchitti leaves pit road with 4 scuffed red tires, the alternate tires. He will win the race off of pit road from everybody that did pit here. Ryan Hunter-Reay came on the radio. Townsend, you talk about questioning that decision in a deflated voice. He said, guys, everybody else stayed out.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out. You know, Tony Kanaan, I think, had a disastrous pit stop there. I'm watching the monitors to see where he came out, but it looked like he lost a lot of spots.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't even see him. I haven't seen him come by. Yeah, wow.
He was just at the back of that shot.
He lost at least 10 spots.
Yeah, I just saw the guy out of the corner of my eye. It looked like his guys were struggling on the tires. I don't know if it was because pit lane was a little more jammed up or something.
So revisiting that reshuffled order, and you'll see car 12 ahead of car 9. So Will Power was able to leapfrog Scott Dixon there and get ahead. Let's take you back and show you what the KB Racing Technology pit stop looked like for Tony Kanaan.
Looks just fine and normal on the way in. Stops just right on the marks. Watching here, maybe a little slow on the right front, but Oh, a little confusion there. You know, it's that split second when the fuel's done and out where he waited an extra second.
Boy, but a second shouldn't be 10 spots.
Yeah. Well, it's tight down there, Kevin.
They had some concern that they might have had an issue. He was complaining about something in the left rear of the car, so part of that time was simply taking a look to make sure there wasn't any suspension damage or anything else. So that cost him a tick as well, and it's only a second, like you say, under caution. You lose a lot of position on the track.
Well, there's no question he knows how to pass around here. So let's see what he can do on this restart.
It was a super start. So the shuffled order has Ryan Hunter-Reay and Charlie Kimball, who is not on the lead lap. He'll be wanting to get ahead here of Ryan Hunter-Reay. And we'll see. You can see the two red cars, and a little further back on that fourth row, Franchitti and Power side by side. This will be interesting. This is a tough section of the course, entering at about 155 miles an hour. They climb the hill, and Kimball, he has got that confidence high from the win after Mid-Ohio and takes it to Ryan Hunter-Reay.
He got to. I mean, in the spot he's in, he made a mistake, and he's trying to make up for it. Now he's on the lead lap, the tail end of the lead lap, but if the yellow comes out right now,
Graham Rahal, just when things were going so right, they go so wrong.
Hopefully that's just a front wing, but that was a big hit, Wally.
Is the car okay?
well, the yellow should come out because of the debris, and Charlie Kimball now will be able to make that lap up.
Right.
So that's why you lay it on the line like that, to try to get your lap back, because you never know what's going to happen on a restart.
Boy, there was some pushing and shoving on that restart. They were jostling. No yellow yet. No yellow yet. And look at Dixon and Power fighting it out. Dixon on the outside. It's all about championship points. Dixon is running side by side with Will Power. Who's going to give in first? Dixon gets it. That was nice stuff. That was top shelf driving at its best.
Fantastic. Two of the best guys in the sport. Good friends and giving each other safe running room. But Dixon laid down his authority right there.
That's a good Kiwi-Aussie battle there as well. Dixon got to hang out with Team New Zealand at the competitors from the Louis Vuitton Cup down in San Francisco Bay earlier in the week, so he was pumped to meet those guys, and he is pumped about his championship chances. So how bad is that debris at the top of the hill here, where Graham Rahal came together? Also, Lucas Lurin was involved in it a little bit after that, and he kept going. So obviously race control deemed that the track is clear enough, reports from the corner marshals, and we race on.
I'll tell you, these Dallara chassis are robust. We've seen so much contact this year, where in prior years, Wally, you'd say that it has to be a full course yellow. You can't steer the car, but they keep going. There's Graham getting the new front wing.
Him up and drove away from that route.
Let's go get him. You'll be in clean air, so we'll be able to go fast.
That was the voice, the encouraging and reassuring voice of Bobby Rahal, Graham's father.
Typical Marco there.
So Graham telling us a little bit of what we didn't see. So he's pointing the finger at Marco Andretti. Let's keep an eye on it.
Let's go back and take a look. You're looking back at about 8th, 9th place. Hinch drops wheels. Marco goes to the outside of 3.
Oh, 3 into that corner. There was just an awkward collision between Pagenaud as he hit him side on, and then that put Graham out towards Marco Andretti.
That's just 3 cars in a part of the track that is normally a one-groove area. I don't put that on Marco at all.
On board with Pagenaud. Watch this. There'll be a side-on collision between these 2 cars. Here it comes.
I mean, Marco was there.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, you could say Graham kind of turned into the right rear of Pagenaud and sort of bounced off. I don't blame him. It's tight through there, but
look at how racy J.R. Hildebrand is on his return after 9 races away. This is what it looked like for Graham Rahal.
See, Graham really lost a lot of momentum here because he had to jump on the brakes because of Scott Dixon.
And he's got to jump on the brakes here again with the checkup.
Right. And there's what Marco does. I mean, like you said, there's no room for 3 cars there.
No, he was just
but
putting
that wasn't really Marco's fault.
I think it was one of those situations where 3 into 1 doesn't go. And there's Charlie Kimball. We relive that moment where he gets back on the lead lap by attacking Ryan Hunter-Reay at the restart.
And I don't think you would have seen Charlie Kimball do that a month and a half ago. I mean, again, we go back to the confidence he has now as a race winner. He put it there and he did a good job.
This is J.R. Hildebrand backwards in 7.
Have we seen that before today?
We have seen that
Indeed,
before.
we have.
Today. I was just going to go back to what you were saying, Wally, about Charlie. The moment I'll remember from this year was back at Barber. I don't know if you remember the pass that he made on Will Power going into that very fast chicane, but that to me was the moment, and we got a full course yellow again after another incident in turn 7. This time, Kanan tapping the back of Hildebrand.
And getting back to earlier what we were talking about, we'll watch this replay again. You can see
it's on board Briscoe. Oh, he's going to get into James Yates. Getting around JR.
Now, they might be able to play that off as him avoiding an accident in front of him, perhaps.
So, Townsend, you grew up around here. You know this track like the back of your hand. Why are there so many incidents at that corner with guys sticking their nose up the inside?
Because it's the one place on this track where you can get a run on somebody out of the carousel, and it's so wide. It's a drag strip down there. Look at that. When you look at Charlie Kimball, the width of his car as he's approaching, you could fit 7 cars side by side on that drag strip. And it's so inviting. You've got all this room. You know the lead car has to do a wide late turn in for the optimal line, and it just invites you dangerously to make a move every time.
So under caution yet again here at Sonoma Raceway for the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. The field will pack up again. That's already proving to be, as we race lap 23, an intriguing race. A long way to go.
There's a lie drivers tell themselves. Death is something that happens to other people. And that's how you find the courage to get in the car in the first place. But more powerful than fear itself is the will to win.
James can be a loose cannon, but there is no better driver in the world.
Niki Lauda. He's consistent, dependable, a grown-up. Will he put his life on the line the day that really matters?
The closer you are to death, the more alive you feel. It's a wonderful way to live.
Rush, a Ron Howard film, rated R. In select theaters September 20th, everywhere September 27th.
For decades, beaches looked the same until one man changed summers forever with a pair of scissors, creating the bikini. Creative thinking goes into everything we build. This is the Mazda way. So at the Mazda New Model Celebration, you'll find our newest models, not closeouts. With our latest technology, innovations, and bold designs. See your Mazda dealer today. See the all-new revolutionary Mazda 3 in dealerships this month. What do you drive?
Give me your street circuits, your ovals. Give me your road courses and your cathedrals of speed. Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
Sunday on the NBC Sports Network.
Welcome you back to Sonoma Raceway. The GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma continues. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Wally Dallenbach, Marty Snyder, Jan Beekes and Kevin Lee, Robin Miller on a beautiful Northern California day. Now, Ryan Hunter-Reay takes the opportunity to do what he should have done perhaps on the last stop. We may eat our words at the end of the broadcast, but he was ruining the opportunity to come in a little earlier like everybody else did, Marty.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy, Lee, with the fact that they did stay out, and they could have caught a couple of breaks here. They thought there was debris in turn 2 from the incident we saw earlier from Graham Rahal. They were upset with that, politicking for a little bit of a caution there so they could come down pit road and pit under caution. But as Michael Andretti said on the radio, you see him come to a stop in the stall. If we would have stayed green there, we would have been in great shape. Now they have the huge penalty. They'll be very far back, the track position that they will lose, and they'll also put on sticker primary tires. We saw a half turn of wing out because they went to the primary tires, but a lot of work left to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay today.
There was frustration in their camp at Mid-Ohio when Michael Andretti said he had the, as we go back to a little earlier, watch this. Oh, this is Ryan Hunter-Reay forcing Marco Andretti out tight to the wall. That's tough racing.
I'd be mad about that too.
I don't know. That's what you do. Yeah. Listen, Marco's only got a wing in there. And he's trying to force the issue. When you make a pass, you drive the guy to the wall.
Come on. The willpower drives better than that. He didn't need to take that much room.
Well, he probably didn't think Marco had
action.
any business keeping his nose in there. He made the pass.
Oh, why? He's supposed to just let power go because he's willpower?
Well, when you only got 6 inches of car there.
He's 24 laps into the race. I can see if it was, a little bit towards the end of the race.
There's been plenty of feeling in this race already. And you can see something there on the front right of Justin Wilson's car. Let's find out more about Wilson.
Yes, and they were very concerned about that debris. And wow, look what happens when he's trying to shake that off at the moment to try. It was for one moment on the front wing. Now it looks like it may be lodged for the tire. But remember, Justin Wilson, we thought he might have lost a lap when he spun in turn 7. He has not. So he is the leader of the race at this point in time, and they feel that debris so far is not overheating the car.
Takuma Sato has been sitting in his pit stall for multiple laps. He was in the mix that involved Graham Rahal. They have been working diligently on the right front suspension. Major problems again, multiple laps down, so yet another rough result for Takuma Sato, who was leading the championship at one point this season, but now this is going to be his 8th in the last 11. That's 19th or worse, most likely. Also, Graham Rahal is going to have to come back in one more time.
All right, ready to go to green. End of our 4th full course yellow. Thankfully, let's get into a nice rhythm of racing here. It's been a pretty spirited battle so far, hasn't it? Wilson on the inside, Hinchcliffe on the outside, and Justin Wilson doesn't hang around for anybody. Sebastian Saavedra's in the mix there as well. Climbing the hill one more time. This is a spectacular section of the Sonoma circuit. Hinchcliffe, Carpenter. Who else involved?
Rail slide.
Wow.
Great save.
You're good. Keep digging on it.
And there is debris being spread all over this racetrack. And inside this helmet of Helio Castroneves, he's saying, take it easy, do what I've been doing. I need to keep this championship lead. I don't need to get into any trouble. Stay calm.
Yeah, how do you stay calm, though, when the guy in front of you in the GoDaddy car just did a Ryan Sheckler 80-foot rail slide over the curb, and you're thinking, man, I don't know if I can... If I just park this thing, I might not even make it through the race.
Watch further back. Marco Andretti on the inside of James Jakes and Simon Pagenaud around the outside. 3 wide through turn 7.
I think I might have seen Marco get into the back of Castroneves there just a little bit.
Marco has not been in good spirits this weekend. He has been fired up for a long time. Franchitti on the inside of Sebastian Saavedra. That was easy and straightforward. So Marco is all juiced up at the moment. He is not happy, and he is fighting out there as hard as he can. At one stage was one of the serious championship contenders. He still mathematically is, but the challenge is getting harder and harder.
And this is TK into the pits. I'm not sure why, Wally. He just pitted on lap 18. This is only 8 laps later. He's got a drive-through, apparently. Kevin, what's going on?
I just heard Jimmy Vassar tell him black flag. So that may have been part of that. I thought I heard avoidable contact. I want to double-check on that, though.
That's correct, Kevin. Word from race control. This is for avoidable contact when he tagged someone up at turn 7 earlier on.
So frustrating. After such an incredible start, then the little snafu on the pit stop there, now a drive-through penalty. But he's still in it. Guys, let's watch this start again with Hinch on the turn 1 apex curve. I think what happens is he just breaks a little too deep, loses the back of the car. Oh, Saavedra got into him. And look at him. He runs on that curb under the floor where both the front and rear tires are probably off the ground. That is a miraculous save.
And like you said, Helio, this happened right in front and around Helio Castroneves. Take a look here. He does a great job not running into... Oh, he did run into the back a little bit, but no damage to his wing.
He hit the back of Simon Pagenaud. This is the man who has completed 100% of the laps this year. He's the only driver to do that. He's going to try and keep that run intact. That's why he's been such a big point scorer. Look at Briscoe on the inside of Marco Andretti. Not quite close enough there in turn 11. Let's ride with the National Guard machine.
And diff right in front is Marco Andretti. He thought he might have a broken wing. He had the guys check it when they came by. They said it's fine. He said, though, something is wrong with this car. It simply will not turn. You see him wash out there. He cannot keep the car down. And the reason, Diff, he's been so frustrated this weekend, Andretti Autosport as a whole has put so much effort in this racetrack. Both Ryan Hunter-Reay and Marco told me this was the worst racetrack for the organization. They have finally gotten it right. They're finally competitive here, and they have not capitalized, Marco told me. In qualifying, he said the car was the worst it had been all weekend long. They clearly want a better result than they've had in years past here at Sonoma.
And remember that this is such a wonderful racetrack as far as memory-wise for Marco Andretti. It's where he got his first career victory back in 06.
Boy, Tristan Vautier just had another huge save at the exit of the carousel, and he lost part of some piece of bodywork, I'm guessing front wing.
There's going to be a drive-through penalty for Sebastian Saavedra for avoidable contact with James Hinchcliffe as well. Understandably so, as he sent Hinchcliffe sideways. Let's check in with Jan Beekes.
With Dale Coyne, of course, makes the calls for Justin Wilson. How much of a concern with that debris? It looks like you were able to get it off the car.
We were most worried about going to the oil radiator and causing overheating problems, but it worked out all right. The Boy Scouts always like to clean up and then they leave their campsite cleaner than they found it, so he did a good job out there.
Dale, you now are out of sequence, so you're going to have to stop soon, and you'll give up that track position. How much of a concern?
We'll see. We could use another yellow, and if it comes at the right time, it could be in good shape, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, capitalizing at the moment, why they have clear air.
And more news for Dale Coyne Racing is that this man here, Justin Wilson, his younger brother Stefan, will make his IndyCar debut next week on the streets of Baltimore. It's going to be busy. You're driving up there in the American Law Series.
Yeah,
as well,
I'll be racing LMS. I'll be joining everybody again on television with NBC Sports, and that is the deep end of the pool for Stefan Wilson. Wally, we're seeing the debris there.
There's a lot of debris there. I mean, that's right in the racing line as well. And somebody just hit it.
That would be his teammate, Simon Pagino, just clipped it with his left side tires.
Take a look at this. Watch the yellow and green car.
So I think he might have got a little loose, had to square up and straighten it out, drive a little dirt to avoid spinning. And
both pieces flying there.
Yeah. There's a better shot of it. That is weird. He didn't get loose. It just kind of drove off the edge there. That curb is tricky. If you get the right side tires on there a little too much, it just sucks you straight off into the dirt.
That's a much steeper uphill run than it appears on television as well. So Justin Wilson is at the front, and his rookie teammate James Davison is up to 11th. Meanwhile, James Jakes, after such a promising run in these opening 29 laps, it looks like it is day over for the Englishman.
And that's got to be a mechanical failure of sorts. Doesn't appear to be any contact on the car, so that's just the runoff area braking for turn 9.
And Townsend, what happened? He radioed in, said the engine just died, so no power at the back of that machine.
Such a promising run for both Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars, with Graham Rahal as high as 6th earlier in the race. Now he's catching up after being spun a little earlier.
How do you do a summer clearance event the Dodge way? First, wait till summer. Then, get the cars ready. Now, add the Dodge part. The Dodge Summer Clearance Event. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 72 months and no payments for 90 days on all Dodge vehicles.
Man, you just missed an awesome play.
No, I didn't. I got DirecTV NFL Sunday Ticket. Lets me watch any game I want, get instant highlights, and have all my fantasy stats in one place.
Man, I really need to switch from cable.
Oh, yeah. Can also do this.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Become the world's most powerful fan. Get NFL Sunday Ticket at no extra charge. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
Quick reminder that in 2 weeks' time, the Formula One World Championship continues here on NBCSN with the race that many consider the embodiment of F1 racing. Don't miss the Italian Grand Prix from Monza live in 2 weeks' time here on NBCSN. Did you catch the race earlier today from Spa? If you didn't, I won't tell you the result. I won't spoil it for you if you had it DVR'd, but it's worth watching, and the championship gets even more intriguing. This is a sad sight for the Acorn Stairlifts car for Rahal Letterman Lanigan driver James Jakes. Radioed in, no power, engine dramas on the 16. He had a very encouraging run going earlier. He spent a lot of time racing around Ryan Briscoe, who is in the 9th position at the moment after starting 22nd in the National Guard Panther entry. So as they stand at the moment under this 5th full course yellow, which incidentally is a record high for yellows here at Sonoma Raceway in IndyCar Series racing, it's Justin Wilson, Scott Dixon, Will Power and Dario Franchitti. So there was a shuffle up there in all of that mayhem on those restarts. Ed Carpenter, Elio Castro Neves, Simon Pagino, Marco Andretti 8th, Briscoe and Davison. Let's get to the pits. Here's Kevin.
Joseph Newgarden is in, and right behind him is Tony Kanaan, who fell all the way back to 19th because of that black flag. So this is a really quick stop. Didn't need much fuel. Their original plan was, we want to run hard, change tires often, as we see EJ Viso come in, who has also been a victim of the black flag today.
So they're serviced and sent.
Lee, I just wanted to draw your attention. I'm looking at the monitors to two guys running 10th and 11th. James Davison in only his second race and rookie Tristan Vautier. Now, what's interesting about these guys is that they both started on the primary tires. They are on the same lap pit strategy as the leaders, and they have gotten their black tires off the car. They're able to go red, red, red to the finish. They could have a great run today.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that James Davison started last.
Yeah.
After an engine penalty. It's only his second ever IndyCar Series race. It was a surprise because there was a young Japanese driver who was meant to be in the car for Dale Coyne Racing. That was not possible due to financial reasons. And as Robin told us in the qualifying show yesterday, Mike Conway was a consideration, but Dale Coyne thought he had it sorted out. And then due to the good job he did, he finished on the lead lap and in 15th place at Mid-Ohio. Dale rang James Davison and said, hey, are you a possibility for Sonoma? And he's a young, hard-working man who finished runner-up in the Firestone Indy Lights Championship a couple of years ago. He's a race winner in that series, and he just loved Mid-Ohio. So here he is running on the verge of, actually he is in the top 10 at the moment. Another reminder that you can be a part of Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes by going to shophonda.com to sign up. We saw TJ earlier in the race riding behind Mario Andretti. That was hilarious. That could be you in the IZOD 2-seater behind either Mario Andretti or Ari Leindyke to have a chance to lead to the start of an IZOD IndyCar Series race. That is shophonda.com and sign up. Put yourself in for a chance of taking that wonderful ride. So it's been a strange race so far. And of course that record 5 yellow flag periods to bunch the field up, to shuffle them around. Ed Carpenter, who's slightly off what the main front runners are doing. He's about 6 laps different on what they have been doing as far as pit stop sequence, but Carpenter's running well, and he's running well in the championship as well in 14th place.
Yeah, it's done a great job today, and yeah, you see it. It's really mixed up here at the front, Townsend. These guys are doing a really good job. Even though they're in the middle of some of the best in the business, you know, looking at Ed sitting in this spot right there, that's pretty impressive.
This is easily the best event he's had in his career on a road course. If you just look at practice session pace and things like that, he is now into the tail end of the meat of the pack. Yeah. 5 years ago, he'd be 5 seconds, 6 seconds off the pace, and he has worked tremendously hard. And he's a legit player today. Doesn't quite have the paces of the leaders, but what I'm watching is past about 10th place, Wally. It is just a gaggle of guys that are just looking for a miracle today, and it is fun watching this.
Yeah, these restarts have been really, really exciting to watch, and it's going to continue to be that way.
The Target Chip Ganassi cars of Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti have been prominent not only in this race, but this weekend, and especially over the last 4 races, including Charlie Kimball. Well, the 2 guys got to go to a local Target store recently and help some needy kids with back-to-school necessities, clothes and books and paper and pens and shoes. Dario's, of course, an uncle to his brothers, Marino's child, and Scott, of course, is a dad of 2 with Poppy and Tilly, and they had a great time, and so too did the kids and parents. So well done, guys, doing a little bit of community service there and helping target out, help some needy kids get back to the new school year. I know some of you have already started school, some are about to start tomorrow. We wish you a happy schooling year. So we're ready to go racing, but we go and then we get pulled back, and we go and then we get pulled back. So what we like to do is sneak in as many breaks as we can while we're under yellow so we can show you more green flag racing. You're watching IndyCar on your home of open wheel racing.
Command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Row 1 on.
Live in-car cameras.
Race car rolling.
4-in-1 mosaic. Having your heart race as fast as theirs.
Here we go.
Hey, good for green. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Whoa, what do you got there?
Berry pomegranate Mio.
Do I just squirt a little?
Or you can squirt a lot.
Really changes your water.
It changes everything.
Mio, squirt some.
Everybody knows he ain't just tough. He's
the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Your car may have been born in 1997, but give it a new set of Firestone tires, and it could feel like it's fresh off the lot. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
49.5. Dreams come true at the world's largest collector car auction house, Auctions America Auburn, Thursday at 8 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
All summer long, experience the thrill of thoroughbred racing at its finest from the place where it all began. Summer at Saratoga, Saturday at 4 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
Back in wine country here in Sonoma. Great to have you with us live on NBCSN. Ready to go racing. Justin Wilson at the front. But he is out of pit sequence compared to the guys behind him like Scott Dixon and Will Power and Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, I know we've kind of been talking about this. I still don't know why you wouldn't come in now. You're on 10 lap older tires, and
you're still going to have one more stop.
Well, I'll give you a quick update, and that is that for Justin Wilson, he's not yet in the window that he needs to make it in 2 more stops. So he needs about 8 more laps to get into that window for this all to sort out.
Boy, with all these cautions, I'd roll the dice, get my stop over with, and hope for the best.
Yeah, given that we've had a record number of cautions. Are you ready to go racing? We certainly are. It's round 15. This is the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. Justin Wilson and Scott Dixon on that front row. Let's go. Wilson off to a flyer as he did before, but Dixon goes around the outside. Look at Scott Dixon. He really wants to win this championship. What a move. He wants that clear track ahead and put Wilson between he and Power and his teammate. That was awesome. How about that? We talk about Castro Neves playing it careful and conservative. Dixon just went on the attack.
You know, a lot of people don't appreciate just how brave you have to be to go on the outside of turn 1 at Sonoma. It is bumpy. It is 5th gear, wide open. That is the sign of a champion right there. And look at these 2 guys going side by side through the carousel. That's Briscoe and Vautier.
We saw Vautier run wide on the exit of the carousel. This is Ryan Briscoe. He has been on a charge ever since the original start. Starting from 22nd, Ray Hall on the inside. Whoa, narrowly avoids contact with Kimball. Trying to make up for positions.
And Lee, we're hearing that they're going to be black flagging Saavedra, car number 6.
Yeah, that was a carryover from the last restart. They didn't get a chance to bring him down the lane. So that one's a carryover for Sebastian Saavedra in the True Car entry. So scrambling for track space. Ryan Hunter-Ray caught back in the pack after being off sequence in the DHL Andretti Autosport Chevy. Simona Di Silvestro on Ed Carpenter there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to start seeing, again, I question this call, but I think you're going to see Wilson starting to slip back. He's got much older tires than these other guys right now.
And let's watch Will Power here. He just got around Wilson, and he is on a charge. He needs a race win like a tiger needs a piece of meat.
Let's show you how Will Power got around Justin Wilson. Talk us through, Wally.
I'm sure Wilson's loose. He's not getting the grip down coming off the corners right now because the rear tires having a lot more miles on them than everybody else. So I'm sure his hands are full.
Will Power still in search of that elusive win in 2013, Marty.
And Lee, on the radio, Tim Cindric knew that Will Power had to go. In fact, he came on the radio and said that you got to get around Justin Wilson. Why? Because both he and Scott Dixon have not had the primary tires on in this race. That's why Dixon was so aggressive trying to get the lead. They have those softer red tires on. They're much faster than those primary tires. He's trying to gap as much as he can as Scott Dixon. So Will Power had to go and had to get around Justin Wilson.
And did it very effectively. About to tick over to lap 37 of this 85-lap race, so edging closer to the halfway mark on a beautiful afternoon in California. Dixon leads to the tune of 1.7 seconds over Will Power, Justin Wilson, Dario Franchitti, Elio Castro Neves, and despite being caught up in all the drama, Marco Andretti is still in 6th place ahead of Simon Pagenaud. Whoa, that's Graham Rahal getting by sports car race Lucas Luhr.
And Graham Rahal on the charge. He knows he's got a good car. He's frustrated about what happened earlier. He's trying to take back real estate that he feels is rightfully his from earlier.
That was for 18th position, incidentally. There's Ryan Hunter-Reay immediately ahead of him. Can't wait to hear Lucas Luhr's thoughts on his first IZOD IndyCar Series race. He has been in the thick of it today. Talking about a guy who's an FIA GT1 world champion, a multi-time American Le Mans Series champion, including leading the P1 class this year. He's won Sebring, he's won Le Mans, he's won just about everything there is to win in sports cars. However, this is a whole new world for German Lucas Luhr.
Yeah, when we talked a little bit, he was having fun.
Yeah.
He still was said, there's a lot I still have to learn about these cars. And I think he was really struggling more on the braking and carrying the speed into the corner. But even though he was struggling, he had a smile on his face when he was talking to him.
And he also held his hands up and he said, I just don't understand why these cars don't have power steering.
Yeah.
Wilson's in. Justin Wilson finally pits. So, Wally, perhaps he should have taken your advice and taken it on that last yellow.
Be wide open to it.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe something it'll turn out for their strategy on their pit stops. But, boy, I would have much rather taken that yellow or that pit stop during the caution and not lost this much track position.
Yeah.
And Wally, that makes a very good point, but I think what they were worried about, they were worried that if the race was to go green the rest of the way, and they don't go for the debris right away. I'm surprised now they go up to the right front and finally get rid of that debris. It's another stint for Justin Wilson. Just over 9 seconds, and he stays on the red sidewalls. Now, he will only have to stop the same number of times as everyone else now, but obviously, as you hear from the pits, he has to stand on it.
But that's my point. That's my point, Jan. Now he's just backward. Now he's doesn't have the track position, and he's on the same strategy.
And there's a huge gap to the field.
There's a huge gap. I think I would have rather thrown the dice, hoping for some cautions for the better track position. That's all I was trying to get to.
And here is his young teammate, the rookie James Davison, who is ahead of Ryan Briscoe. And Davison is the biggest mover in this field. He's made up 18 positions.
Really impressive job this guy is doing. I mean, really,
this is fantastic.
One guy to talk to.
Wally, this guy is here on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing came together last second. This is a tiny team, and this is a guy that is driving around in a beat-up old truck to races, and he's hanging on. Great pass by Briscoe, but like I said, Davison running 7th, now 8th, but looking strong based on his tire strategy.
He's got a great attitude, too. He's a fun guy to talk to. He was so happy to be here, have this opportunity.
Motorsport is in his blood. His grandfather, Lex Davison, was a Formula 5000 champion. His dad, John, was a long-time race promoter at the Sandown Raceway in Victoria and Melbourne. His dad, through some contacts, found some extra finance and was able to help James get in this seat this weekend. And he said, look, all I hope to do is do what I did at Mid-Ohio, stay clean and bring home a good car for Dale Coyne Racing. Well, James, you're doing a lot better than that. You're up in the top 10 and you're on the same pit stop strategy as these front-running heroes. Dixon is your leader, and this is huge for him. He needs to do this to keep his championship hopes alive and better and really start to put the squeeze on Helio Castroneves. It's time to go through the field. GoPro takes us through the field, and we start with Marty.
And Lee, about 9 laps before Scott Dixon does decide to come down pit road, clearly coming in and showing how aggressive he is willing to be to get that championship lead, maybe even today. You know, the Ganassi cars were so good in the open test here on Wednesday. They actually ran about 5 laps in the morning, left the property, went to lunch, and then came back in the afternoon. That's how good those Ganassi cars are, showing it again today here in the race. Will Power running in second. They told him, pick up the pace. You got to get to Dixon if you can. They want to go about 1 lap longer if they can when Dixon does decide to stop. Dario Franchitti behind him. You know, went 3.5 months of the season with no podium. He's had 3 in his last 4 races, trying to get up there and get his first win of the season, Kevin.
Solid run for Helio Castroneves, but he was hugely concerned after the morning warm-up. 16th quick, he said the car just wouldn't turn. They had to take it back to the pad, couldn't find what the problem was, and ultimately something was broken in the steering column from an off in qualifying yesterday. Fixed. So far, so good, Marty.
You know, Kevin, Marco Andretti does not have that win this year, but he has 5 straight top 10 finishes. That's why he's 4th in the championship standings. And once again, he finds himself in the top 5. They do think the wing is broken a little bit, but they keep telling Marco, listen, you're fine. You're the 3rd fastest car almost every lap. Jan?
Simon Pagenaud trying to see stay with Marco Andretti. The situation for him, these yellow flags actually have not worked in his favor because he feels that his car is better on long runs. Other people's tires wear. He says mine doesn't, so he's hoping for long runs of green.
Strong run for Ryan Briscoe. The only time this weekend the car hasn't been good, qualifying. Certainly very unfortunate, but good in all the sessions and today as well. And by the way, Oriol Servie is going to be in the car at Baltimore, and for the rest of the season, we can confirm for Panther. Next behind him, James Davison. We've talked about the great run he has had, just his 2nd IndyCar race after mostly being out of the cockpit for the last 4 years. Just wants to get to the finish. Jan?
Tristan Vautier, of course, is the teammate to Simon Pagenaud. They run a similar setup, but he said they drive much differently. I like to slow the car down and work on my exit speed. So, yes, we can use the same setups, but different approaches to the corners. Now, talking about teammates, Simona Di Silvestro, who's behind in this position, has been trying to work through some of the setups for Tony Kanaan. But in the meantime, let's get to Marty.
You see Ryan Hunter-Reay at the very front end of pit road, the first pit stall. They're trying to pit a little bit earlier than everybody else. You see him putting on those alternate red tires. These will be much faster. They're hoping to make up lap time. You see him leave pit road. You hear Michael Andretti saying, go, go, go. Go as hard as you can. They're trying to make up lap time. He only got guys from 21st to 16th, but he did use the primary tires. He's done with those for the day.
I think that's a good call, Marty, to bring him in a little bit, because he can make up a lot of time on these guys now. Hit him a little bit early because those tires have so much more grip.
Getting close to the halfway mark of the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. This guy needs a good result, Ryan Hunter-Reay, to stay in touch with Dixon and Castroneves. Looks good from above, doesn't it? Sonoma Raceway for the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, round 15 of the Eyes on IndyCar Series, here live on NBCSN. Great to have you with us, and look what's happening up front. It's Ganassi versus Penske. You know, it went for so long this year before one of these teams scored a victory. It was Helio Castroneves in Texas to get the first win for both these teams, for either team I should say, and now it's Dixon Power going at it at the front. There's only 0.6 of a second between them, and they've got a 4-second margin over the 3rd place Dario Franchitti. Marty?
And Lee, this could come down to a duel on pit road as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Will Power's team trying to go 1 lap further than Scott Dixon. And to add to all this fun, they're right beside each other, pitting right beside each other. So Tim Cindric and Mike Hull can literally look at each other and kind of go, hey, what are you going to do, dude? No, what are you going to do? This should be fun, because clearly Power a little bit faster than Scott Dixon right now.
And this is something we didn't expect to see, because the Ganassi cars over the last few races have been so strong on grip and tire management. They've been incredibly forgiving. So to see Will Power catch is impressive. Seeing Sebastian Bourdais and Vautier pitting.
Didn't you mention, though, to me this morning about possible a lot of wear on the rear tires of the Ganassi cars?
I talked to the Ganassi guys. They were seeing cords on the blacks at the end of a stint.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Marco Andretti on the inside of Helio Castroneves. That's a nice move at turn 7. And does it easily. Pagenaud is in the mix. And then how about Ryan Briscoe hanging tough in 7th place? Remember where he started in 22nd. So it's been a productive day for the Panther Racing team. On board with the HP Honda of Simon Pagenaud, the team and the organisation Schmidt-Peterson, Schmidt-Hamilton Motorsports have announced they've just re-signed with HPD Honda Performance Development for the 2014 season. All right, Will Power is the first to blink. He's in.
And Lee, I think Will Power and his team would have loved to have tried to go a lap longer, but they just couldn't make it work. They're going to go to the primary tires here. All these leaders are going to go to the primary tires. You see Will Power pitting here. He'll go with scuffed primary tires. They did ask him, do you want a wing change? A little bit of trouble getting the fuel nozzle in there, but you see Scott Dixon on the right-hand side. Taking a little bit longer for Will Power. We'll see if that's a penalty as he cycles out with everybody else, Jan.
And Marty, Simon Pagenaud just finishing his service. He also went with primary tires, but decided, oh, look at this. It's wheel to wheel leaving the pit lane, and it'll be as soon as they get off the speed limiter, he gets the position up the hill. He went with the sticker blacks this time for Pagenaud.
Here's the view from Ryan Briscoe. And talk about how hard this outlap is, Townsend.
It's critical. And what's difficult is that this is a track that has so much vertical compression. As we see Wilson and Saavedra awfully close side by side into the carousel. Places like turn 6 here, you get a ton of vertical compression, and on cold tires, Wally, you don't have the tire pressure. Very challenging.
Yeah, it's fun to watch these guys, especially on the onboard, how much they're moving the wheel. Because there's just, like you said, there's just no grip on these tires until you get some heat in them.
Scott Dixon is on his way into the pits. Now we're going to watch very carefully as to where he cycles out in relation to Will Power. It's a critical lap for Will Power. And it's also a critical time for the Ganassi team to service this man, their race leader, the best they can.
And Lee, Scott Dixon once again proving being the master at saving fuel. He hits pit road here. They're going to put on the primary sticker tires for Scott Dixon. We'll see if that was an advantage for Will Power. We'll see where he cycles out. This is going to be pretty close. Will Power coming by. I think Scott Dixon's going to hold on to that advantage.
Oh, there's Dixon. Here comes Power on the inside. Dixon's going to make it very hard for the Penske driver.
And the benefit for Dixon at this track is that the pit out leads right to the apex of turn 2, and you can just drive straight there and block the guy from behind. Now he's got to hang on here on this critical outlap on the primary tires, the blacks, which is so hard to do. Look at Wilson's all over the back of Power.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought Power would be able to get a little bit more on him because of the cold tires coming out.
This is Will's last chance, I believe, right now on this outlap is out of the carousel, and Dixon is flying.
He's up. Yeah, that's not even a contest.
That is a brilliant job by Scott Dixon on cold tires.
Outside. Good.
Marty brought up a really relevant point there earlier about Scott Dixon doing another good job at saving fuel. I asked him many years ago, why are you so good at that? He said, you remember ages ago when we used to run Toyota engines back in the kart days? He said, I did a ton of testing, engine testing, and we used to work on that during the testing. And he said, I kind of transitioned that into my racing.
Yeah, you know, the key is really coasting. It's trying to spend time coasting, which is a difficult thing to learn, but Dixon's very good at it. I also think we're looking at the Chevy versus Honda fuel efficiency situation that we've talked a lot about this year. Marty?
And Lee, I talked to Scott Dixon about that as well. He said, honestly, at that time, that was our only shot with Toyota to win races. He said, we had to become very proficient at saving fuel because that was my only chance. So I got very good at it very quickly. And when you do that for days on end, for years, it works out pretty well, Kevin.
Elio Castroneves pitted from the 5th position under green, comes out in 9th. They made a massive front wing change. 2 turns on the front wing for Elio Castroneves, hanging in that championship fight. He's been in the top 4 9 times in his career, has come so close many times. Is the leader right now heading down the home stretch.
And Kevin, I think one of the reasons you're talking about a massive front wing change is when you go from the reds to the primaries, there's an anticipated loss of rear grip. So they're probably pulling front wing out of the car to anticipate the rear grip loss from the blacks.
If you're new to IndyCar, watching, there are 2 tire compounds. There's the black wall and the red wall. You have to run both compound at least once each in the race. And the typical story is that the blacks, the harder compound tires, run for longer. The reds are softer, they run for shorter.
Keep pushing. Those guys are on blacks now. We got to keep pushing. Let's go.
This is the Barber spec, what's being called the Barber spec tire that was run at Barber Motorsports Park earlier in the year. However, it's not working in that traditional and typical way, so much so here at Sonoma Raceway. 38 laps to run. We're into the second half of the GoPro Grand Prix. Is Dixon going to hang on to this one? He needs to.
Where's my wife? She's fine for now.
The bank has something I need. Steal it, and your wife lives.
Get caught, she dies.
I'm coming with you.
I need to be told that she is all right. What are you doing? Stop the car.
I'll do whatever I have to get her back.
Getaway, rated PG-13, starts August 30th.
Wake up to a new, better breakfast. It's Golden Corral's tastier than ever ultimate weekend breakfast buffet. For one low price, it's our new buttermilk pancakes, bacon, sausage, signature omelets, and more. Juice included. It's a better breakfast, and it's only at Golden Corral.
Progress isn't about where you've been. It's about where you're going. The new Ram 1500. Best in class 25 mpg. North American Truck of the Year. The Truck of Texas. Better residual value than Ford and Chevy. It's the fastest growing truck brand in America. Guts. Glory. Ram.
Whoa. What do you got there?
Berry pomegranate Mio.
Do I just squirt a little?
Or you can squirt a lot.
Really changes your water.
It changes everything.
Mio. Squirt some.
For those of you just turning on, want to be brought up to speed, it's been a wild old race here in Sonoma. Right at the very start, Charlie Kimball spun at the top of the hill. This is what it looked like from Graham Rahal's point of view. And that brought out the first of what has been 5 yellow flag periods. This is Sebastian Bourdais at the restart getting into the back of Marco Andretti. It has been frantic in this race today. We scoot ahead to lap 19 and check this out. Charlie Kimball around the outside of Hunter Ray to get back on the lead lap.
Fantastic move from Charlie. We see a little more chaos at the back. Here's Graham Rahal checking up. Marco goes to the outside, Simon to the inside, and Graham is a ping pong ball bouncing off the cars. Big contact, has to replace his front wing, able to keep going.
Ahead to lap 26, and watch this wild ride, Wally.
Yeah, the restarts have been, they've been plenty of action. Hinchcliffe gets sideways, lost a lot of ground on that restart. But like I said, the restart's here. See Dixon on the outside, takes the move, takes the position from Wilson.
And that was one of the boldest moves we have seen today. Sebastian Saavedra has pitted for his Dragon Racing team. He's been in the mix today. He's been running well. He's been up front. He's had a penalty. He's been in some collisions. It's been a pretty interesting day for young Sebastian Saavedra, who drove well here last year in his first appearance as well. So meanwhile, up at the front, Tony Kanaan, James Hinchcliffe going at it. They are out of sequence in regard to the rest of the guys. So they last pitted on lap 31. Hinchcliffe pitted on lap 30 in comparison to Scott Dixon, pitted some 15 laps later.
And unfortunately for these guys, if it stays green, they're likely to still have 2 stops to make it to the finish.
Yeah, they're about a second plus slower than the guys that have stopped, like Dixon and Power and them.
Need to update you on something that has just gone down. Justin Wilson got by, Will Power ran wide. Justin Wilson was able to slip up the inside at turn 7.
And that's the case of Will Power thinking about Scott Dixon, knowing that he's on cold tires, thinking this is my chance to get him, and Justin Wilson taking advantage of a mistake from Will Power. I'm not sure Will expected Justin to be that close and competitive behind him.
And again, when you think big picture, the way this race is shaped and the way that it looks like it's heading, Scott Dixon well and truly in control. And if he were to be victorious, that would be 5 straight races for Chip Ganassi's organization. They have just come on this second half of the season unbelievably.
Now, we're watching two guys that not only won a great result today, but they're thinking very much about their futures as well, Wally. Got Tony Kanaan not in contract for next year yet. Hinchcliffe not in contract for next year. A lot of questions about where they might end up. For right now, we know Kanaan's going to end up in pit lane, the first guy to stop.
And if you weren't with us a little earlier...
All set up, open pit in.
So Tony Kanaan is going to have to stop one more time after this. That's Jimmy Vasser talking to him with the open box. Their strategy has fluctuated today. It was originally a plan for a 4-stop race, but because they picked up 9 spots earlier in the early cautions, they changed it to 3. Here in the last 10 or 15 laps, they've been thinking either way. If they got a lot of caution, they were going to try to make it the rest of the way, but it's going to take a ton of caution for them to get there. He does have sticker red, so the idea here is to make up some time.
Tony Kanaan celebrating his 211th consecutive open-wheel start, drawing level with his friend and co-owner Jimmy Vasser here today. He comes out in front of Ryan Hunter-Reay, so that's down in 14th position.
Man, you really feel for Hunter-Reay here. You know, starting at the front, went with an off-strategy situation there. At least his team called him in. You could tell that he was hesitant about it. Now he finds himself buried deep in the field, just trying to do anything to get back to the front.
Yeah, he has not been able to put the numbers together here. I mean, his best finish is an 8th spot.
Just watching Ryan Briscoe get a little wide there at the exit of the carousel, and Simona gets a nice run, good pop to the inside, makes the pass.
There's also been a good scrap, the 2 cars behind those guys. This is Charlie Kimball, the Mid-Ohio race winner, and rookie Tristan Vautier up ahead. Vautier takes the inside line. Charlie, full of confidence at the moment, says, well, I've run out of road.
Impressively stays off the dirt.
Kimball's made up a lot of ground. Don't forget, he was a lap down earlier in this race, and he's sitting in the 12th spot right now.
The 3-time race winner this year, James Hinchcliffe, who started the season in the best possible way on the streets of St. Petersburg with his very first IndyCar Series win, and he went on to add 2 more to that in spectacular style. In Brazil, where he passed Takuma Sato on the last corner on the last lap, and then of course in dominant fashion in Iowa. So 3 very enjoyable wins for Hinch. As far as the championship, he slid down the order a little bit because he's had a few too many DNFs and poor point scoring performances.
And Lee, we get a great shot at the gap there that he has to second place. Obviously, Dixon on a different strategy, but James Hinchcliffe is doing everything he can right now to build that gap. He's really battling, we think, probably Kanaan, Kimball, Vautier on track position for when he comes out after his stop, but he's pushing hard.
Wilson here.
Yeah.
He is not going anywhere from Scott Dixon. In fact, I think he's closed up on him a little bit.
The key thing to keep in mind here between these two is 8 laps difference as far as the fuel load for Justin Wilson and Scott Dixon. Wilson pitting 8 laps earlier.
Just the opposite of what it was earlier in the restart.
And don't forget the tire situation. Right. Justin Wilson starting on primaries, the first in the order, the starting order to start on primaries. And Dixon, we're seeing the struggle here on the blacks as Wilson's going to be able to finish red.
And guys, that was the one question Scott Dixon had when he heard Justin Wilson got around Will Power. He said, is he on primaries or reds? They said reds. And then they said, Scott, listen, just do the best you can. Kind of a big penalty for both Scott Dixon and Will Power right behind him to be able to serve the primary tires right now. And Justin Wilson, with that huge advantage, they do expect him to be able to get around Dixon.
He's had a solid weekend this weekend at Sonoma, and he has performed well here. He's finished in the top 10 in all but one of his starts at this racetrack. He enjoys it. Just think about the pedigree and the history behind Justin Wilson, Formula One driver, F3000 champion. This guy is a superstar, and it's so pleasing to see him still in the IZOD IndyCar Series.
And don't forget, years ago, Lee put his entire future in racing on the public stock exchange in England to raise the money to get a minority seat in Formula One. And I got to say, he is one of those guys that we don't talk enough about, I think, in terms of his talent in race cars, in races, in this series. It's amazing.
So he is putting the heat on the man who is second in the championship at the moment. A little bit different as far as their pit stop sequence, but we will see. How about pressure on the championship leader? He's running 7th at the moment. This is tight, and after we finish today, there's only 4 races left.
185 years, Irwin has been making professional tools for professional tradesmen. Today, Irwin Tools salutes those who build this nation with their bare hands. Join Irwin in celebrating National Tradesman Day to say thanks for a job well done.
A man and his truck, and a broken fence, and a lost calf, and the heart to search for as long as it takes, and the truck that lets him search for as long as it takes. The all-new Chevy Silverado, the most fuel-efficient V8 in a pickup, strong for all the roads ahead.
Your car may have been born in 1997, but give it a new set of Firestone tires, and it could feel like it's fresh off the lot. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
Give me your street circuits, your ovals. Give me your road courses and your cathedrals of speed. Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
Sunday on the NBC Sports Network.
In the break, James Hinchcliffe stopped to have his GoDaddy machine service from the Andretti Autosport team, and he has gone from leading the race, and he cycles back out behind Simon Pagenaud, ahead of Simona Di Silvestro in 8th position. We welcome you back to our live coverage on NBCSN. This is the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, and we check in with Jan Beekes.
And Lee, James Hinchcliffe was able to put on sticker red tires. Remember, he was one of those that started on the primary black, so now he has his best tires of the day on the car and clear sailing ahead of him. This may still work out okay for James Hinchcliffe, of course. He still has one stop to go, but so does everyone else.
And he has that one stop, but by virtue of just making his second to last stop, he could theoretically keep the reds on, not put tires and just short fill Wally, and maybe make up a gap.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's in a pretty good spot right now. Like Jan said, I mean, he's got the best tires on than anybody that's running right now. And he's actually had, he picked it up on the 4 or 5 last laps. He's actually running some really good lap times when he was out front.
Coming into this 15th round of the championship, there was a 31-point advantage to Helio Castro Neves. The man closest to him in the championship leads the race at the moment. There he is, Scott Dixon. We check in with the predictive points as they run of now, and it would go from 31 to 8 to the advantage of Scott Dixon in a massive way. So Castro Neves would still be the championship leader, and Ryan Hunter-Reay would be pushed out of 3rd place by Marco Andretti, his teammate. However, we've got just under 30 laps to go, so there is a good portion of this race still to be run. And thankfully, guys, we've got into a nice rhythm now. We've got rid of the yellows. Touch wood.
Well, they say cautions breed cautions.
Yeah.
We've certainly seen that today. But this is a fascinating battle. Watching Justin Wilson just work away. And again, I'm just debating, as Wilson decided, I'm just going to take advantage of the high grip to allow myself to save as much fuel as I can to go longer, or is he still trying to get by, Wally?
I'm going to say he's going to try to get by. That's Justin Wilson. The way you can just see, he's just really trying to size up Dixon here, and he's waiting for one little slip up, which Dixon doesn't make often.
We're hearing Wilson's going to pit in about 3 laps. One of the best ways to get by at Sonoma is to just kind of show your nose constantly and see if you can get the guy in front to make a mistake, trying too hard to stay ahead.
And think about this, guys, too. Justin Wilson, while everybody else has been on vacation, has been in the groove, in the racing groove. The last 2 weekends, he's been competing in the Rolex Grand Am Sports Car Championship for Mike Shank Racing, partnered with Gustavo Yackerman. Not super results. He had a 6th and then a 14th, but nonetheless, he has been in the racing mode while everyone else has been on a mini summer break.
Scott had gotten through the carousel very well. You can see he pulled about 3 or 4 car lengths through the carousel, but boy, Wilson made it all up on braking.
I think you're right. Wilson wants to get by. One of the things I overlooked is that they're 8 laps different on strategy, so there is no fuel save there.
Good run from Justin Wilson. Nonetheless, it's allowed Will Power to gather up a whole lot of ground on them, hasn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? If you look at it, Dixon's car is a lot better right on the newer tires. When it comes to a long run, we saw it the last time. Power made a ton of ground up, at the end of the run, and we're seeing that happen exactly right now.
Power is in Power is in a very strong position as he was 12 months ago here. And before that, remember, he went all the way to see the checkered flag first in consecutive years in 2010 and 2011. So Will Power performs beautifully on this circuit.
Which if this plays out and we stay green, I think Power's in the better spot because his car is better on the longer runs.
I agree with you, Wally, but he also didn't get the same mileage Dixon did on the last stint. Dixon was able to go one lap longer, then came out and blocked Power straight out of the pits.
Yeah,
so I think Power's got to try to get around here, or else Dixon can stretch it again a little bit longer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if after they make their pit stop, if they've got the same gap, when we get down towards the end of the race, Power's car is a little bit better.
No question.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing they keep talking about on the 12 car. And also the fact, remember, they had a little bit of a slower stop than Scott Dixon did last time. If the 12 team executes this time down pit road, they'll both be on those softer red tires. This could be a fantastic battle for the win.
And just to highlight the violent nature and just how fast this Sonoma Raceway is, let's take a ride with Will Power and enjoy the run through turn 1 and up the hill, and then turns 3 and 3A. It is quite something else. Turn it up, have a listen, have a ride, and enjoy.
Look at Justin Wilson. He is all over the back of Dixon. He's got a pit, but that's not going to stop him from trying to mix it up before he gets into pit lane.
It's an enjoyable lap, isn't it, around Sonoma? And that was cool with Will Power. Now try doing that 85 times, the best you can, the fastest you can, and fending off the competitors. With 26 laps to go, a little further back in the pack. And James Davison there gives EJ Viso plenty of room up at turn 7, where we've seen multiple collisions today. And then the same corner, look at this. James Hinchcliffe attacking the championship points leader, Helio Castroneves.
Yeah, these guys are really sitting ducks right now because Hinchcliffe's got on such better tires. And they put themselves in a very good position.
But you can see Castroneves knows, man, I can't afford any contact. I've got to finish. I might not win today, but I need to finish and get as many points as I can. Keep this thing in one piece.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to finish. You're absolutely right. But boy, every time somebody goes by, you're looking at that point gap get smaller and smaller.
And if I'm Hinchcliffe, I know Castroneves' mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm like, man, this guy's got to finish the race. I'm going to throw it in there. I know he's going to leave me room.
He's going to give me plenty of room.
Elio has dropped down the order to 7th at the moment. Simon Pagenaud is the next one, looking to snatch that spot from him. Hinchcliffe has already caught his Andretti Autosport teammate Marco Andretti. Look at the green machine on the attack. Hinchcliffe is powering.
A couple more.
Turn 7, he's haunting his teammate on the inside where he was a lap ago. Nice move. Hinchcliffe ticks another one off. Fresh tires, and he is on it.
You know, looking at that championship score, if we were to finish as we are right now, I'm just blown away by Marco. P3, if we finish this way. He hasn't won a race, but he's just been there race after race. Here's Wilson in pit lane.
With 25 laps to go, Jan Beekers is standing by.
There'll be some radio chatter as he comes and makes his way around towards the far end of pit lane. I have good news for Justin Wilson. He has his favorite set. This is a brand new set of sticker reds waiting for him.
Wide open.
But he will need a full load of fuel.
2, 1, right on the mark.
So look for the stop to be around 9 seconds. Scott Dixon, because he stays on course, won't need to take as much fuel. See, they had to wait for fuel. So that was about a second and a half that they waited on the fuel. If Scott Dixon stays out on the racetrack, he won't have to wait that second and a half because he won't need as much.
And look at all those cars sweeping by, and James Davison, his teammate there, just gathers it up. Watch this. Watch the refueler.
Yeah, if you look at the refueler here, watch him struggle to get that probe in there. And that's maybe not even a second, but what a penalty on a green flag stop.
Well, despite having those softer red, you see Ryan Hunter-Reay on pit road. He was not able to make the progress they would have liked, and they too were fuel to get in the car. They only made it up to 14th on that run. Remember, he's a third player in the championship game. Could be a big day for Ryan Hunter-Reay in losing points here at Sonoma.
And shook his head as he was exiting his pit box. Frustration for the man who qualified well, was running up the front, and that opening pit stop was what did the damage. And he comes out behind J.R. Hildebrand in the Barracuda Networks car. Here's the man up front, Scott Dixon. He's got 1 second over Will Power. The big names in the big positions going for the win.
Your car. It's been your wingman, dining room, and best friend. Baby maker, and baby soother. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car. It only matters what you put in it. That's why Pennzoil is designed to give you unsurpassed engine protection, so you can protect your car and the memories made in it. Save 50 cents per gallon on Shell fuel with a 5-quart purchase of Pennzoil Synthetics. Make it a Pennzoil change.
Inside yours. Keep pushing here, bud. That's turn 4, spotter. Turn 4's clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. We'll push the back left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
For decades, beaches looked the same until one man changed summers forever with a pair of scissors, creating the bikini. Creative thinking goes into everything we build. This is the Mazda way. So at the Mazda New Model Celebration, you'll find our newest models, not closeouts. With our latest technology, innovations, and bold designs. See your Mazda dealer today. See the all-new revolutionary Mazda 3 in dealerships this month. What do you drive?
Longhorn knows for great taste, nothing beats your favorite, like our juicy outlaw ribeye, Parmesan chicken, and grilled salmon. Come taste your favorite tonight at Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak. Visit LonghornFavorites.com now for an exclusive free appetizer coupon to go with any fresh favorite.
Whoa, what do you got there?
Berry pomegranate Mio.
Do I just squirt a little?
Or you can squirt a lot.
Really changes your water.
It changes everything.
Mio, squirt some.
Live in Sonoma, and the troubles continue for Joseph Newgarden. You saw him stationary on the side of the track. There's a flurry of stops in pit lane. Marty?
Impressive day for Charlie Kimball. He was dead in the water on lap 1. They're waiting on the fuel. He ran his way into the top 10 after being a lap down. Caution out on the racetrack now, and that's a huge break for Charlie Kimball and all these guys who just pitted right now. We'll see how this one cycles out.
Wow. And all of a sudden, here come the guys who are running in the top 2. Dixon Power on the lane.
This is the race for the race. Marty?
And guys, this could be the race. They did make it to pit lane. Both Will Power, who you're riding along with, and Scott Dixon. You see him right in front of him. They will pit literally front to nose to tail. Right here as Will Power hits his stall, Scott Dixon hits his stall. Neither driver wants changes on their car. They'll both put on stick air red tires and see who can win the race off pit road. Remember, Power's guys had a slow stop. Whoa! Dixon will hit the race, and he hits a guy from Will Power's crew here on pit road.
I think at least 2 are down.
Tight pit there. I mean, you could see that coming.
Oh, you hate to see that. And to see them both up, at least.
You very rarely see that. That was nasty.
And that will most certainly be
Power
under
was,
review.
I mean, he had to get around Dixon to get in the pit if we look at it again. I mean, Power may have been out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It was really the right rear guys were pretty far out.
Take a look at it.
But I mean, that just illustrates the anxiety of everybody. Let's watch this here.
See how the right rear is kind of, boy, that's just tight.
Whoa.
Well, he's walking, the pit crew member is walking casually with the rear tire sort of hanging out.
Yeah.
And that collected to the rear left, didn't it?
I don't know. I mean, we have to see it at a different angle. It's tough to put that on Scott. You would expect the crew member to do everything
See
he
how
can to
he's
get out of the
pushing the
way.
white line right here?
Yeah, but watch this guy. Look at him walk there with the tire in his hand.
Didn't even look like he was looking at Scott.
Well, it didn't look like he made any effort to get the tire out of the way. He just sort of hung it out, and it just ripped right out of his hands.
This will be the best angle. Watch this.
So stop there. And look at that. I mean, he's just walking as if he's carrying groceries home from the store, and Dixon's absolutely clear of this distance, which is the normal distance you measure. And, I mean, the crew guy just flat wasn't paying attention. Either that, or that's a bit of a second base place in baseball.
Being a conspiracy guy that I am, I'm looking at it going, you know what? I'm going to hang out here and I'm going to make him go around me, and maybe that, So I mean, we've seen that a lot in racing. That was a pretty cool move.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to see him get up, but he's going to be sore tomorrow.
So good to see the crew member get up and walk away, and there were 2 crewmen involved in that incident. That is under review from race control at the moment. So Marty is down there speaking with Merrill Kane, the public relations officer for Penske Racing. So we're under full course yellow for Joseph Newgarden's Sarah Fisher Hartman racing car to get rescued. Been a troublesome day for young Joseph. He had gearbox issues earlier in the day. That put him some 6 laps down. And then we'll wait for a report as to what happened to the 67 for him to come to a stop off course. Wow. Far from done here in Sonoma. What a day it's been.
Beautiful day here in the Sonoma area. It is about 19 laps left in the race here. And interesting pit stop for Will Power and his guys. It actually wound up being 3 crew members who were hurt in that incident. Travis Law was a tire carrier, and his injury actually didn't happen when Scott Dixon hit the tire. It was when he hit the ground. He hit his right elbow. Damon Lopez, the assistant fuel guy, hurt his left ankle. You're looking at Jeremy Baker. He actually was hit by an air gun that whipped out when Scott Dixon went around them. So that is what Jeremy is holding ice on his left leg, as you can see right there. But all of them say they are fine. And in fact, Travis told me it's pit road. We kind of expect it once in a while and haven't been hit in quite a while. So obviously everybody okay. They will be fine to continue the race, Lee.
Thanks for the update, Marty, and good to hear that the guys are okay. It is still under review in race control, and we'll update you. If you've just joined us, it was a fairly frightening looking incident involving the gentleman that Marty just told us about. This is Scott Dixon exiting his pit box, and this is Travis Law holding the tire, and boom.
Yeah, I would certainly not put any blame on Scott Dixon for that.
None whatsoever.
I mean, whatever comes to the review comes of it. I mean, Scott didn't do anything wrong there.
So you rejoin us under our sixth, that's right, full course caution. For the first 33 laps of this race, we had 5 cautions. For the next 31, we had none. And now we've got our 6th full course caution after Joseph Newgarden's car had been rescued. So it sets up for a nice last 19 laps, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And to think we made it through a Toronto and a Mid-Ohio with no cautions. That's probably the biggest miracle of the season after watching this today, but this should be just a blast to watch these guys go at it.
Getting back to, a little bit what we were talking about earlier, I think these caution laps play into Dixon's favor. I thought if it went green for a long time, we'll take a re-look at.
I'm going to take you back and show you another angle of this incident and draw your attention to how deep in the box the 12 is.
Yeah, those boxes, though, are those painted, Wally, for the NASCAR race? Because what I'm looking at is this T right here. That T is the tape that is laid down by the Penske team that defines where power should start, stop. But that's the fuel line, so that's where they've been set up all day long.
They may have set it up.
See, here you can see those white lines are for the Cup race. They are not for the IndyCar race.
And Townsend, you're correct. You can see the very end of Will Power's pits, and right where that target sign was is where Scott Dixon's pit actually begins. So they were actually kind of in the middle of their pit box.
Anyway, getting back to, I think this plays into Dixon's hand right now because of the tire situation we talked earlier. The more caution laps these guys run, the better Dixon's going to have it now. I think Power had the advantage if we had a long green run.
And 3 of the top 5 runners are winless this season.
Regardless, turn 1's going to be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
So, turn 1, how about turn 3? How about the hairpin? I mean, it's going to be a heck of a first lap.
So Will Power's going for it for selfish reasons. Dario Franchitti's going for it for selfish reasons. And Justin Wilson going for it as well. It's going to be good. For Dixon at the front, it's all about championship, and he is closing the window on the man running 6th at the moment, Helio Castro-Neves. And with only 4 races to go, this is going to be fascinating.
My wife, is she alive? For now. If you want her back, follow my instructions precisely. Drive. Rule number 1. There is a package at the back. Steal it and get it out of the city. Rule number 2. The police will be after you. Don't get caught. Rule number 3. You have 2 hours. I'm coming after you. You hear me? The clock is ticking.
Getaway. Rated PG-13. Starts August 30th.
I don't drive a race car every day, but when I do, it has to be ready. At the race shop or at home, that means Deltran Battery Tender. Deltran battery tenders don't just charge batteries, they automatically switch to a smart maintenance mode that keeps your battery at its peak charge. With protection from overcharging and easy to understand LED indicators, Deltran battery tenders maintain my most valuable equipment. If you can't start it, you can't drive it.
The British are coming! Oh, wait. It's the Italians. The Italians are coming!
The 5-passenger Fiat 500L. It's a big new world.
This is going to start a revolution.
Tottenham Hotspur's new manager.
A-team I coach, they're going to play hard for all 4 quarters, okay?
2 halves.
Okay, halves. We're going to play hard for 2 halves. And we're going to play till there's a winner and there's a loser. What's that?
A tie.
Okay, till there's a winner, a loser, or a tie. Yeah, do we have any goals this season? Absolutely. We're going to win a lot of games. We're going to get in the playoffs.
No playoffs.
There's no playoffs. My job just got a lot easier.
Premier League is on NBC and the NBC Sports Network.
We welcome you back to our live coverage here on NBC SN. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Wally Dallin back. Good to have Wally back. Marty Snyder, Jan Beekes and Kevin Lee, Robin Miller with us as well. And we are working our way back to green. Now, you've just seen an interesting altercation between the 12 and the 9 teams of Power and Scott Dixon. It was tight last year at Mid-Ohio as well, and it went to the favor of car number 9. Look at Dixon just beating Will Power out. If you've just joined us, there was an interesting sequence of events that went down in the pit lane here at Sonoma Raceway, where a crewman, Travis Law, was hit by the car of Scott Dixon, and it's been under investigation. It's been up for discussion. The boys have been going at it here during the ad break, but so far we have heard nothing, and thankfully the crewmen that went down from Penske Racing are okay.
The one thing I'm wondering about, Wally, and I hate to belabor this, but it's pretty interesting, is what is the protocol for the right rear guy when you finish a tire change? Does it vary team to team? I'm trying to remember now, because normally I'm used to seeing the right rear guy just finish the stop. Well, I guess they pick up the tire and walk back.
They pick up the tire and walk.
But at what urgency?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything in the rule book as far as urgency. Obviously.
All right. When we watch that Mid-Ohio replay, the tire changer clearly got the tire out of the way for Dixon.
All right, let's pair up, please. Let's pair up.
With this late race 6th caution, it has brought several other players into the mix. It may not all be about Scott Dixon and Will Power. Keep your eyes on Wilson. Keep your eyes on Hinchcliffe. How about Simon Pagenaud and Marco Andretti? Let's go racing. Is this for the final time? We hope so. It could make for an interesting race to the end. Scott Dixon, look at Franchitti on the inside. Dario Franchitti.
Castro-Neves is right in the middle of that. Almost another wreck.
And Power back on Dario. Good forceful driving, and Justin Wilson wants to pounce as well. Franchitti is relentless. Look at the target driver, but he had to yield then to Wilson.
Dario Franchitti got a great start, got 2 spots, had to give up 2 spots, now back to 4th.
Castro-Neves on the outside of Marco going in.
Word just in from race control. Car number 9, race leader, championship contender Scott Dixon will be penalized for that pit lane infraction.
You got to be kidding
me. Well, I'm going to have to get some clarification on that. I don't understand what he did wrong.
Well, look at this. Mike Hull is down there speaking with IndyCar officials and saying, what? Tell me more.
What in the world would he get a penalty for? How does he do anything different?
Mike Hull is the general manager of Chip Ganassi Racing and has been around
through the pits.
Oh, I wouldn't. You can take all your points away from me all you want. I would stay out on that racetrack because there's no way I would pit for that penalty.
How in the world do you expect Scott Dixon to do anything differently coming out of his pit stall?
That's ridiculous.
And guys, I gotta say, Scott Dixon was awfully calm, especially for a guy in the middle of the championship battle. You see him serving the penalty so slow as everybody else flies by. All he said was, are you serious?
This could be a defining moment, the defining moment in Scott Dixon's 2013 championship. And look at him shake his head. He can't believe it.
I can't either. I don't think any of us can.
I'm not even in the car. I'm fired up.
Well, and of course, Mike Hull just brought up on the radio, considering that was Helio Castroneves' teammate. I totally disagree with that call. A little bit upset, obviously, here on the target team.
And look at how it swings. Dixon was in a position of being within 8 points of Castroneves, and in positions as they run now, he would be 43 points behind. That is huge, Kevin.
And obviously, Helio Castroneves and Roger Penske, who is calling his strategy today, have been closely monitoring this situation throughout the day. Since it hasn't been a winning type day for them, I think they've been championship racing. Roger has been saying stay cool, and during this last restart, a little bit more cautious with the pending penalty, and he just told Helio, penalty for the 9, stay cool, we're good right now.
And there is Castroneves. At the moment, Helio runs in 8th place behind the defending series champion Ryan Hunter-Reay. Let's take you back to the restart because it was fast, it was close, it was frantic, and Helio Castroneves had an anxious moment. Keep your eyes on this.
Yeah, he's going to be put in the center here, I think. Yeah, right there.
Oh, boy.
Great job keeping that car straight.
His right front was off the ground, sitting on the top of Marco's under tray. And as we've talked about all day, poor Helio's just like, man, another restart.
Yeah.
He has been in the middle of chaos.
And on opposite ends of the spectrum, when it's your day, and when it's not, it's not. It's not Scott Dixon's, it is Helio Castroneves. Hunter-Reay is hungry. He's looking for a way by the Brazilian. 14 laps to go on a day that's given us so much to talk about from Sonoma. Watch this, watch the yellow car. Here's the Andretti Autosport machine. Inside at turn 7, Castroneves argues the point. They go side by side. Hunter-Reay and Helio Castroneves, the championship contenders.
It looks like they might have touched.
And after that drive-through penalty, Scott Dixon is in 21st position, 19 seconds behind Will Power.
And you know, because of the situation, Castroneves, it's a different frame of mind right now.
Totally.
I mean, now it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to be so careful because the guy I was worried about is way behind me right now.
Absolutely.
Here's the move. Watch this, up into turn 7. It's been a real hot spot, as it always is.
Hunter-Reay pops out early. He's got a bright yellow car to show Castroneves in the mirror, but Castroneves stays to the outside, and I think there was a little bit of rub there, left front to right rear. But as you said, Wally, they should be on the radio to Castroneves saying, man, just finished. We do not need to worry about losing a ton of points. Let's just get out of this.
So with 12 and a half laps to go, think about Will Power for a moment. His last win came Brazil last year. It has been a long time for the Penske man, Will Power. Meanwhile, Tony Kanaan is enjoying life in 6th. He's got Marco Andretti right behind him, Castroneves, Hunter-Reay, and Sebastian Saavedra is up into the top 10. Good run in car number 6. Look at this inside line. Helio goes inside his good friend, Tony Kanaan.
Like I said, all of a sudden Helio's on fire.
Good job.
You know, I think he was being careful this whole race, and now that Dixon is out of the picture, it's like, you know what, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Good news.
Inside, here comes James Davison on the inside to force his way past Simona Di Silvestro.
Good on for James. And Wally, I think you're right. He's probably realized, man, I keep trying to protect all race, and all that happens is I end up in the middle of of just carnage, drama and carnage, I might as well just do what I'm used to, which is drop the hammer and go fast.
And that's what got him here. That's what got him in this position.
Right.
Here's how it runs. Power is less than a second ahead of Wilson. Franchitti is third. Simon Pagenaud, James Hinchcliffe, that's your top 5. Good fights all the way down through the field. 12 laps to run.
And big cloud of dust there. I got to tell you, when you're coming around this racetrack, that is a blind corner 3A. When you come over the hill and you see dust, it is awfully hard to not lift.
You're just hoping that the track is clear.
And Will Power especially is hoping, because he got hurt and had a big shunt years ago with a guy sideways on the other side of that hill.
Here's an interesting story, guys. These two guys on track, Sebastian Saavedra in 10th and James Davison in 11th as Hunter Ray goes on the inside of Canaan. They used to share a house together. They hang out together. They're good mates. They go racing together, but they've never raced IndyCar this close together. So this will be interesting if there's an opportunity for James Davison to pass his good friend.
No question. Now, there's an opportunity for Ryan Hunter-Reay to continue. He's got 12 laps left to go here, and he just got around Canaan. He's going to be flying to the front, see if he can get around Castroneves now.
It's good. It's a good second half of the race for RHR. He's certainly in a position that he thought he may not have been when he was buried in the field earlier. Did a complete stint, and as high as he could go was 14th. At the moment, the defending series champion is 8th. He's some 12 seconds behind our race leader, Will Power. That's Castroneves and Andretti up ahead.
Well, guys, let's talk to Mike Hall and see if he agrees with this call. I know you don't agree with the call. Were you surprised it came down?
Well, you know, I don't know what. First of all, the reason that they did what they did is because of the safety for the guys that go over the wall. Let's face it. The guys that work on all our race cars they're the most important ingredient that we have. But in this case, we watched the tape. I know they watch the same tape, I assume. But based on what we found out in Toronto, they don't. They don't have the same thing that UTV guys have. So I think what they watched was probably a thumbnail sketch. But in reality, the guy turned his back and carried the tire into Dixon's side pod. If you look at Dixon's side pod, it's got rubber all the way up on the top of it. He walked into us. So if that sets the precedent at the next race, that means that somebody can walk into somebody else with a tire in their hand. I don't know if that requires leniency, but I think that requires consideration. But the most important thing is the guy's okay. And that's the bottom line for me.
Just to clarify, though, you do feel it was an intentional move on Will Power's team part?
Do I see?
It was an intentional move by their part.
Oh, no. How could you say that? Those guys race us clean. We race them clean. We've raced a lot of races with those guys over the years, and we'll keep doing it. And the race teams themselves, we enjoy racing with each other.
From this point forward, obviously there's a lot at stake here with the championship. How will you follow up with IndyCar?
Well, I don't know. What are we going to do? It's not a protestable offense. So we don't really have a recourse. And the court of public opinion is going to be split on it. So, we'll just go to Baltimore.
All right, Mike Hall obviously upset with what happened to Scott Dixon and the penalty lead, but this will be a rough day for that 9 team.
Well, and the answer was very interesting from Mike Hall, because you saw the passion bubbling underneath, because that could have just killed Scott Dixon's championship chances, but then showing concern for the welfare of the crew guys.
I mean, Lee, so what kind of precedent does that set, as Mike points out? So I see a nickel on the ground and I bend over to pick that up and I get hit. Is that a penalty? My shoe's untied.
I understand the reason they're doing it, because they're trying to keep these guys safe on pit lane, which is the most important. But in this incident, the guy was not paying attention.
And he made it as wide as possible. Carrying a rear tire off your hip instead of in front of your body is about that's 3-4 feet.
So I don't agree with that. I mean, they're obviously going to call it the way they see it, but I just think that Scott got robbed on that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a point of discussion for a long time to come. So we're inside the final 10 laps. We're going to squeak in one final break and come back to take you to the checkered flag. Could Will Power, here he is, get his first victory in more than a year?
Honda, we know some people just can't leave things be. They wonder how much faster this thing could go. Blade less or turn sharper. They know that things can always be better. We count ourselves among those people. Introducing the quicker, sleeker, smarter, best Civic Si yet, made possible by Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Whoa, what do you got there?
Berry pomegranate Mio.
Do I just squirt a little?
Or you can squirt a lot.
Really changes your water.
It changes everything.
Mio, squirt some.
The drivers of Quicken Loans. Elio Castroneves, Ryan Newman, Will Power, and Tony Stewart. They are engineered to accelerate, engineered to dominate, engineered with muscle and brains, engineered for victory lane. For a home loan experience that's just as amazing as our drivers, call Quicken Loans, engineered to amaze.
Golden Corral just made the weekend better than ever again. Our $12.99 premium prime rib and shrimp weekend is back. It's endless prime rib, our best jumbo butterfly shrimp, and our new bone-in catfish and catfish fillets. It's our premium prime rib and shrimp weekend only at Golden Corral.
Introducing a car company that's never made a single car. Legendary durability. Impressive mileage. Firestone tires. So unstrap the saddle. These old stallions are ready to run. Again. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
We're back live at Sonoma and drama. We're up in turn 7. Fancy that. Charlie Kimball, Takuma Sato, and Ed Carpenter.
Can they get you going or anything? No. No, it's dead.
And Charlie Kimball's front end is nowhere near the ground.
No.
What a scrappy day. Scrappy day here in Sonoma. And we are looking at possibly our 7th full course caution.
Oh, stove. Okay, wave your hands more than anyone else. Keep going.
Let's show you what happened involving these guys, and there may have been more cars involved that got away with it. I think Ryan Briscoe was in the mix. Yeah, here's Briscoe. A little bit of damage on the front left wing. He goes inside Simona Di Silvestro and James Davison.
Oh, yeah, he just clobbered Kimball there.
Davison was lucky to get away with that. This is what it looked like for Charlie Kimball, the last round winner.
I think all you're going to see is him go around.
Yeah.
You're not going to see much.
And unfortunately for Briscoe, I've been in that situation before.
He drove back, and I was like, well, how did these guys get underneath them? That's how.
I was just going to say, for Briscoe, all you're thinking about is maximizing your brake zone here with Simona, and you're trying to brake late, and then you just don't expect, to run out of road with Charlie. It's
and like you said
situation.
earlier, some of these guys really laid apex, and he kind of squared it off, and I don't think Briscoe was expecting that.
Yeah.
There was one big winner in that mess. That was Graham Rahal. He picked up 2 or 3 positions, cut through on the inside of all of that, and was able to capitalize. So, we regroup again. And the Holmatro safety crew will do their normal excellent job to clean this up very quickly and help Charlie Kimball. How much can change in the space of a round in the IZOD IndyCar Series? It was all celebration at Mid-Ohio 3 weeks ago. It's now head-scratching for the race with Inchland, Novo Nordisk crew. And for the guys at AJ Foyt Racing as well, some frustration for Takuma Sato. Negotiations continue to keep the Japanese driver here in the States racing in the IZOD IndyCar Series, where he picked up his very first career win earlier this year on the streets of Long Beach. He's a real asset to the series. He's a real crowd favourite. We love his aggressive style of racing. So let's hope they can continue to keep Sato in that 14, the ABC Supply Company car for AJ Foyt.
And they really love him. They love his hard-charging attitude. I've talked with the team, talked with Takuma. He's happy with the team, and they just love the fact that he goes for it all the time.
I know in your mountain biking, you've taken on that no attack, no chance philosophy. So it's working for him. It's working for you in the woods, isn't it? We'll be back. Quick break, and let's finish this thing off.
Decades, beaches look the same until one man changed summers forever with a pair of scissors, creating the bikini. Creative thinking goes into everything we build. This is the Mazda way. So at the Mazda New Model Celebration, you'll find our newest models, not closeouts. With our latest technology, innovations, and bold designs. See your Mazda dealer today. See the all-new revolutionary Mazda 3 in dealerships this month. What do you drive? So-and-so.
You're watching IndyCar on NBC SN, brought to you by GoPro. It's been a beautiful day. It's been a wonderful week here in California, but perhaps not the same adjective for this race, which has now seen 7 full course cautions. Now, as we saw a rule implemented at the last round, we're about to say that the race control were about to move the 20 out of the way, because now in the last 15 laps on road and street course races, they move the cars not on the lead lap.
Which I love that. I love that rule.
Yeah,
I mean, that was because I remember when it wasn't like that, and some of these finishes when you had 5 laps to go, it was just a mess. So it gives the guys, you know, who earned to run for the lead, not have to get through guys that are lapped down.
Okay, so let's tell a balanced story. Marty spoke with Mike Hull from the Chip Ganassi Racing team. Now let's go on the other side of the fence to Penske Racing, and here is its president, Tim Cindric.
Well, let's get his assessment. First of all, Tim, are your guys okay? And you've had a chance to talk to all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think, you know, Travis said he's a bit sore, obviously. I mean, it's a shame what happened there, because you don't want the racer or the officials to decide what's going to happen there. But, you know, somebody has to make a call and decide. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. Obviously, we got another restart here to deal with. But, you know, certainly all the guys in the pits have done a great job all day. It's just tight in here.
Lights out on the pace car, getting ready to go green. But real quick, obviously, did you agree with the call that the IndyCar made?
Well, I think you do have to protect the guys in the pits. I think if it were the other way around, I guess I would expect the same penalty for us. But it's not an easy one for anybody. So you certainly don't want to win one that way.
Just to clarify, they don't feel it was intentional. It was not intentional in any way, right?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask them.
All right, thank you very much, Tim Cindric. Going to try and guide his driver now to the win.
And if he can, it's going to be one to really celebrate. Don't count Justin Wilson out of this one just yet either.
No.
And Dario Franchitti. Another sneaky race from Simon Pagenaud, who is the quiet achiever in this field. Just goes about his work. He's got a win. He's got a second this year. Here he is. He was last year's Sunoco Rookie of the Year. An incredibly talented driver, the Frenchman, who just dearly loves the IZOD IndyCar Series.
And this is when you do things that you won't normally do in the first, 80 laps of the race. Especially if you're Pagenaud guys like that. Wilson, you'll make some moves now. You'll throw the dice and go for it.
And I just can't wait to see what Castroneves does again. I mean, another restart that he's got to deal with. He's got the championship buffer now, but he's got to survive this one.
Here we go. Will Power, Justin Wilson. Dario Franchitti, Simon Pagenaud, James Hinchcliffe, Marco Andretti, championship leader Helio Castroneves and Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan and Sebastian Saavedra. Where is Scott Dixon? This caution has helped him. He was able to move up with that crash to 15th place. Who's your favorite driver? Where are they? How is this one going to finish? Packing up, ready to see green. Around this left-hand sweeper on the front straight at Sonoma Raceway, and look at Justin Wilson, wheel to wheel with power. It's going to give him the inside run, but he's not quite there. Pagenaud on the inside of Dario Franchitti. Great restart. Great restart. Boys went wheel to wheel and held it there tight. Nice stuff. Good, clean racing, but hard. And Castroneves is on the inside of Hinchcliffe.
And look at this mess further back. These guys are all over the place. Hinchcliffe drops wheels at the exit of turn 4.
I think we have seen a new Helio Castroneves here in these closing laps, showing that just consistency is not going to win this championship. He's going to drive it to the front and take this championship for the first time in his career.
No doubt. Scott Dixon off in the dirt at the exit of the carousel way back there. But yeah, you're right, Lee. I mean, Castroneves, he's decided, I think, in this race, no sense in being careful. Much better to push.
Well, he decided it after Dixon got the penalty. I mean, obviously.
Fair point.
Yeah, he is. This is where he can make up some ground. bit of loose ground, which he was first part of this race.
Big incident. I think Sebastian Saavedra was involved in that. Yeah, he is. Wow.
Ooh.
Sebastian Saavedra, after vying for a top 10 finish, got tangled up with some other cars on the outside.
He's moving around in the cockpit.
If you copy, you all right?
Well, you can see him trying to talk back on. It could have been that the radio was damaged there, but you can see him trying to respond to his team on the radio, and it's good to see him trying to get out under his own power here. That was a pretty good hit.
An impressive drive by him today, and he, in fact, responded from an early penalty. We've got some replays to show you here. The first up is going to be from Ryan Briscoe's onboard. Check this out. EJ Vizo up ahead. Wow, there was contact there for sure.
He got turned left.
Looks like...
Oh, you know what? I think that may have been James Davison. I think it may have been James Davison.
Wow.
Bourdais and Davison were the closest two to him.
I almost think that might have been the contact with Bourdais, but let's see if we can back it up.
Let's go the other way.
There's Davison.
There's Tristan Vautier in the yellow and green car. So there you have his teammate. There you have Saavedra's teammate. It's very hard to see.
I think you might be right, Lee. I think it might have been Davison.
I do too, yeah.
Wow. That makes for an awkward conversation. They're very good friends.
Anyways, back to the front. Will Power, where he wants to be, where he's used to be and hasn't been this year. 3 laps to go out front with clean air.
2 laps left for the driver of the Verizon Chevrolet, Will Power, a man who has finished 3 times the runner-up in this championship, has had a really uncharacteristic year. He's used to dominating road and street courses, and he's had to fight, he's had to struggle. He had J.R. Hildebrand on top of him at the opening round on the streets of St. Petersburg. He's made uncharacteristic errors. At times he's looked desperate. But this is more like the Will Power that we've come to know over the last 4 years.
No question. As a driver right now, for somebody like Will Power, this is just therapy. These laps in the lead with 2 laps to go is just total nirvana compared to what has really been kind of a season full of suffering for him. And it's got to be a great feeling. We also understand that Ryan Briscoe getting a drive-through penalty for that earlier contact.
All right, so let's update you as to the man, Scott Dixon, who, as they run, would be 38 points down on Castro Neves. He has made up a position. He's up to 14th. So he's only got 1.5 laps left to do anything about it. Let's see how close he is to the next people in front of him. Wow, there's a huge gap there to Tristan Vautier. If he can catch that group, he's got to be quick about it.
Look, he's missing the whole left part of his wing.
Yeah.
So I doubt he's going to catch those guys because he's lost a lot of front downforce on that car.
2.4 miles to go for Will Power to finally get the monkey off his back in season 2013. What a result for Justin Wilson if he can hang in there in second as well. It's been a dramatic and controversial day here at Sonoma Raceway. But for Will Power, who has hung tough, he's made positions, he's lost positions. But he is determined to be a winner. And if he can hang in there for another half a lap, he will be our 10th different winner from 15 races. The all-time record in American open wheel racing is 11 in a single season. That shows you why 2013 has been a remarkable year.
And you hear Tim Cindric just giving him some information about debris, and there's probably a ton on the track right now, Wally, just to guide his way through that debris on this last lap. But it's amazing. I think what's really cool is to see that Penske's figured out how to make the tires last, where Ganassi had that advantage back in Toronto. If you remember, Will Power really struggled to match Dixon and Franchini's pace. Now, this is what big teams do. They figure it out, how to come up and match the competition.
Will Power is the only multi-time winner in IndyCar racing here at Sonoma Raceway. He has 2. He went back-to-back in 2010 and 2011. Will Power is a 3-time winner at Sonoma Raceway, and it's his first in 2013.
Remember what this is like, right?
Finally, he does it and sees those checkered flags first. We go back in the pack to pick up car 9, Scott Dixon, as he comes to the line. And a man who perhaps many think should have won. However, he's going to have to settle for 15th place. Scott Dixon across the line. He grabs points, but it's not as many as he thought he may have. However, finally, victory, and it's number 19 in his career for Will Power. here in Sonoma.
I think it'll feel like his first.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he was so used to winning, and then all of a sudden, when you have a dry spell like he has, this is going to be a good win for him. I think he's going to enjoy it.
Brazil last year, Wally.
Yeah.
That is, for Will Power, that's an enormous gap. When you're used to winning as often as he is, that feels like an eternity. So the podium is Power, Wilson, Franchitti, Dario with another top 5 finish, consistency, and he continues his championship charge as well. We'll hear from him when we come back.
Back at Sonoma Raceway, where Will Power is just about ready to celebrate for the first time.
The other car he's walked towards us on purpose. That's probably the most blatant thing I've seen in a long time. If you watch most pit guys, they try to get out of the way of other people.